Welcome into our American Sports Network studios. I'm Monica McNutt alongside Marshall University and NFL running back Doug Chapman. And we're here to get you set as the Towson Tigers travel to Tampa to tangle with the USF Bulls.
Yeah, USF coming off an 8-5 season where they finished on a 4-game winning streak on their way to the Miami Beach Bowl. Big expectations in Tampa for Willie Taggart's squad, but an experienced Towson Tigers team. Say that 3 times, Monica McNutt. Returned 16 starters from last year. It's going to make it a little tough on them.
We had a lot of alliteration in our open. All right, let's check out the divisions in the American Athletic Conference. You see the East there. Temple finished first last year at 7-1, with the USF Bulls finishing second at 6-2 in conference. And then, as we move to the West, you've got Houston and Navy that both finished tied for first last season at 7-1. All right, Doug, we've been talking about this, so I think I know where you're going to go. But give me your early AAC prediction.
I got to go with Houston. It's what they showed me last year. You see them with quarterback Greg Ward. What he can do when healthy, they're one of the better football teams, especially on offense, in the nation. You got to figure a way to show up that pass defense, though, for Houston, because they were almost last in the American last year, but they can score points in bunches. That's the thing in college football now. Spread you out. First team to 45 wins. And Houston can get to 45 in about 3 quarters. That young man right there at quarterback, he can light you up with his arm. You see that there? Then he can also get out on the perimeter and make moves and run. He's dangerous in space, just like a running back. Remind me of Denard Robinson from Michigan. That type of player. Armonte Edwards from App State. Extremely dangerous. He is the key to Houston's success. Week 1, Oklahoma, watch out for him.
Oklahoma, watch out. Not only is he the key to their success, but he's also one of our 10 players that will be household names by the end of the season. You can check out all of that and find out who the rest of those 9 guys are by checking us out on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course our website, AmericanSportsNet.com. We will be pumping out Field the Questions as those guys answer tough questions. And then, of course, we've got you covered all college football season long, especially when it comes to Group of 5 conferences, the American Conference USA, the MAC, the Sun Belt, the Mountain West, and of course, we'll be talking about the hottest topics in the Power 5 conferences as well, because Doug just consumes football like air. You need it, right?
I eat it. I sleep it. I drink it. I can't get enough of it, Monica.
You certainly can. We love having your expertise. All right, with that said, we can get you to some more experts. We send you out to the Ray J, Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, where Mike Gleason and Brad Jackson have the call. Enjoy the game.
Tonight we welcome you inside Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. On Sundays it belongs to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but when the college spotlight shines, it belongs to the Bulls of USF. The Bulls, out of the American Athletic Conference, will play host to the Tigers of Towson out of the CAA. Hi, everybody. Along with Michael Young, a former NFL linebacker, I'm Mike Gleason. Great to have you with us here on ASN. And, Michael, great to be back into the college football season. Coaches and fans alike, they have expectations of their team, but you never know what to expect when they raise the curtain on the opener.
Well, you know what? Teams they just have a lot of nervous energy, I think, at this point, because their last game was in 2015, so they want to erase some of those bad memories if they did finish the season up strong, or just kind of build on what they did last year if they did win the game. So there's a lot to be said with the first game jitter, so we'll see what happens tonight.
Well, the Bulls finished last year as good as anyone, winning 7 of their last 8 games. They actually ran the table in the East. They're expected to win the East over Temple and play Houston in the championship game. They run an offense called the Gulf Coast offense. They have a record-setting running back, a record-setting receiver, but Mike, it all starts with their record-setting quarterback.
Well, when you look at Quentin Flowers and what he's able to do on and off the field, first and foremost, he's a dynamic quarterback. He's a dual threat. He accounted for over 3,000 yards, 34 touchdowns. So look for him to make a lot of plays tonight, not only in the passing game, but also the running game.
Rob Ambrose, the head coach of Towson, moves into his 8th year. He's really excited about his new quarterback, Morgan Mihalik, a transfer from Oregon, but they're going to lean heavily on the running game.
Well, they have to lean heavily on the running game. And you talk about Darius Victor. You talk about a person who's a 3-time All-American. I mean, you're looking at a Maurice Jones-Drew clone of himself in that aspect. Last year he had a down year. He was kind of banged up, but he still created over 1,000 yards, rushing 15 touchdowns. He's going to really test this Bulls defense tonight.
Right now, let's welcome in the third member of our broadcast team. We head downstairs. Here's Mike Lefko.
There has been tremendous amounts of rain here since Wednesday night. I'm now here with Wayne Ward, head groundsman here at Raymond James Stadium. Wayne, what have you had to do differently to get this field ready for the game tonight?
Well, we're 20 years into this multi-purpose facility here at Raymond James Stadium, but this week Mother Nature had a different course for us with the hurricane, the rescheduling of the NFL game. So we had to do things a little bit under the gun, as you will. So we worked through the night. We got the grass changed out, and even with the lingering effects today, everything's going to be fine, and the field's dried and perfect, ready to play.
How much rain did Hurricane Hermine bring in from about Wednesday through until this morning?
We are right around 10 inches here at the stadium.
What were the challenges in cutting the turf, and what did you have to do with not being able to do it here on site?
Well, we had to harvest the sod here about 2 hours north of the stadium where we keep our sod, and then we had the challenges of trying to get the grass out of here without messing up the rest of the field. So all in all, everything went through. It was a perfect execution and preparedness by everybody on the sod farm, my crew here, and we're ready to play.
Looks like it's dried out a little bit, though, so how has the field changed since you guys rolled it in?
Yeah, the moisture level was a lot higher there this morning, and the sun's come out, Mother Nature's cooperated, and we've dropped down to acceptable levels.
All right, thanks, Wayne.
No problem.
Back up to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Mike. They've done a fantastic job. I thought it'd be a monsoon down here.
Yeah.
It'd be a swamp as we take a look at Rob Ambrose. In his 8th year, back in 2011, he was the coach of the year in the CAA. 2012, he won the Eddie Robinson Award. In 2013, he led the Tigers into the FCS National Championship game. And, of course, Willie Taggart now in his 4th year as the head coach. And, Mike, wherever he's been as a player or a coach, they just get better and better with each progressing season.
They get better. And the one thing that Willie Taggart really preached to not only his players but the fans, keep the level of expectations very, very high, because you don't want to get complacent. Complacent is the worst enemy you can have. He wants to build off of last year's loss in the Miami Beach Bowl game. So, you know what? I'm excited to see how this new era under Taggart turns out to be.
Well, the era now for Rob Ambrose. They won the toss. They deferred, so they'll open up the second half with the football, so we're going to get a chance to see that high-powered offense of USF early. This is Dane Borges, a freshman out of Brookfield, Connecticut, and that is his first play as a collegiate football player, and he's going to kick it. Gets the end zone, so we'll start at the 25-yard line. If it did get across the pylon, for a minute there, I thought it was going to go out of bounds at about the 1-yard line, but it looks like the Bulls will open up at the 25-yard line. A good chance to see Quentin Flowers, the junior out of Miami, and boy, what a finish they had last year.
I mean, you talk about Mr. All-Everything. You know what? He had a conversation with Coach Taggart. They turned him loose, and ever since then, they won the last, I believe, 7 of 8 games, and they got themselves into a bowl game. He was a 2015 MVP, a record of 22 touchdown passes, and we'll see what he does.
And he opens from the gun. The twin receivers at the top of your screen, and they're going to keep it on the ground. Marlon Mack takes off to the races over the 40-yard line, dropped at the 42. Marlon Mack looking for his 3rd consecutive 1,000-yard season. 3rd consecutive 1,000-yard season, and he's also looking to get his 6th straight 100-yard game going back to last year. But you look at Marlon Mack on that run he just had, a 2-time AAC performer, and then also, too, Rodney Adams on the outside. These guys are a force to be reckoned with in this Gulf Coast offense. Let's take a look at some of the defensive players now to keep an eye on here tonight. I mean, you go to the Towson side of the ball. I mean, you look at linebackers. Chris Tedder got the 2015 CAA Defensive Player of the Year. And also, too, Jordan Barnett. He's a guy who finished 2nd on the team in tackles last year. He's been around, played a lot of football. Coach Ambrose really likes his football intelligence. Flowers' first pass for 2016. He overshoots his man. And 59%. We talked to Willie Taggart yesterday, and Willie Taggart said that he'd like to see him at 65, even 70% with the offense that they're running. Yeah, with the offense they're running, I mean, this is a similar version of the West Coast, but even though it's coming from the gun and it's sort of spread out, they're a run-first team. So you're going to see a lot of high percentage passes at the 1st and 2nd levels. But you know what? That was just a nervous throw right there because he overshot his target. The intended receiver was Rasheen Bronson. Flowers comes back, fires, and he has his man. What a nice catch. Comes right back to Bronson. Bronson bobbles it, pulls it in. So the junior from Fort Myers, Florida. And there's a penalty flag down at about the 44-yard line. Same exact route. Came right back to Bronson.
Pass interference, number 6 in the defense. Penalties decline, result of the play, 1st down.
That's Michael Roche, our referee tonight here inside Raymond James Stadium. And the penalty goes against the Tigers of Towson. That's Troy Jeter, the only senior in that secondary. Very young but very talented, according to Rob Ambrose.
He was matched up against Rasheem Bronson. There was a size mismatch there, 6'3", and Jeter's only 5'11".
Mack stutter steps, does a little juke. He gets down to about the 42-yard line. Picked up a couple, it'll bring up a second and about 8.
Yeah, speaking of Chris Tedder, he was right there to hit and meet Marlon Mack in the hole. And before it's all said and done, you know, Coach Ambrose spoke very highly of Chris Tedder, said he could probably be one of the best linebackers to ever come out of the Towson program.
Darius Tice, a senior, replaces Mack in the backfield now. This is Tice on the receiving end, and Tice is off to the races. Tice, nice move. He's inside the 20-yard line, and Tice is going to take it to the house for a touchdown.
Unbelievable. Mike, we talked about the high percentage passes, and that was nothing more than just a bubble screen going to the right. And Darius Tice changed his number to 13 this year because he said he was going to be Friday the 13th because he punishes runners. But in this aspect, he showed a lot of elusiveness and breaking tackles running down the field. And also showed a little bit of second, third level burst, getting away and walking his way into the end zone. That's impressive.
Well, we talked yesterday with Darren Hiller and T.J. Weiss, the co-offensive coordinators in their first year. They said Tyson Johnson could start for a lot of teams.
Right.
They know who the man is, of course, Marlon Mack. But Tice takes it 43 yards for the touchdown. Penalty flags drop on the kick by Emilio Nadelman, the junior out of Miami.
Anytime you have a bevy of running backs, you know, they all present different styles. Darius Tice is more of the in-between the tackles pounder. Normally you would see a play like that set up for Marlon Mack or maybe even Dearness Johnson.
Offside on the defense, cause an offensive reaction. After this, to the goal, replay the try.
But just to roll those guys in and out like that, that's going to pose a lot of problems for the future defenses that they're going to go against because they're always going to have fresh legs for the most part.
It was Darren Hiller on your screen, the offensive line coach and his first year co-offensive coordinator. Here's Nadelman again, the junior from Miami, with his second chance for the extra point. And it didn't take long for the Bulls. Last year, in their final 4 games of the regular season, the Bulls averaged 542 yards of offense and 47 points a game. Flowers, 22 strikes last year, as you mentioned. There's number 1 here in 2016. It goes 43 to Darius Tice, the senior out of Miami. 7-0 Bulls on top.
Yeah, just taking a look at this play here. We talked about the high percentage passes, nothing more than a bubble screen or a glorified run play out of the backfield. If you let this thing run, Johnson's going in motion. Good block by number 11 on the outside, Valdez Scantling. Also 285, the tight end Dillon. And then 87, the star wide receiver Rodney Adams kind of sprung that play free to get their first touchdown of the season. And going back to it, Mike, anytime you got those type of running backs who have different running styles, they're going to wear down defenses very, very quickly. So impressive first start for the Bulls.
Yes, sir, Michael Young. It didn't take long, just a minute 39 to go 75 yards in 6 plays. Boy, back in 2015, he had 8 plays going over 40 or more. And getting back to receive the kick right now, that was Shane Simpson and Lurk's clue as Emilio Nadelman getting ready to kick things off for the Bulls. So the Tigers, trailing 7-0, will have their first chance on offense coming up. This is Simpson trying to bounce to the outside, cuts it back in. He's up to about the 23-yard line. And that's where the new quarterback, Morgan Mulhallak, the transfer from Oregon, will get his first snap as a collegian with Towson.
Yeah, a lot of people are curious to see what Mulhallak can do. He was rated very highly coming out of high school as a dual-threat quarterback. He's a transfer from Oregon. He's a redshirt sophomore. And you know what? He has dual-threat capabilities. So now we're curious to see how he is, and so are the Towson fans.
Working out of the I formation, and wow, there's no running room. Busting through that line of scrimmage immediately for the Bulls. Big number 60 right there. That's Bruce Hector, as we take a look at some of the players to keep an eye on.
Yeah, just Darius Victor right there. Even though he was caught dead to rights in the backfield, he still had the play strength to at least drag him forward. And then also, too, Andre Dessenberg. He's been a mainstay at wide receiver. 2 touchdowns last year. He's looking for a major impact on this offense this season coming up.
Loss of 1 on the play, so it's 2nd and 11 now out of the gun. Now Halleck gets rid of it, and he paid the price. as he gets hit hard as we take a look at some of the defensive players to keep an eye on.
You already got some early pressure by South Florida, but a couple of guys to watch. Augie Sanchez, a Buckets Award candidate, the defensive MVP, led his team with 117 tackles, and also, too, the cornerback, Dietrich Nichols, a Thorpe Award, Thorpe Award candidate, led the team in interceptions last year, and I think he was able to apply that pressure on that blitz, too, on Mahalik.
Third down, they were at 45% last year in 2015, which isn't bad. First third down from Al Halleck, feels the pressure, and he takes off, and he's going to be dropped hard at the 26-yard line as Devin Abraham, Donnie Abraham's son, comes up to make the stop.
A lot of speed on this Bulls defense. I mean, you can see these guys flying around. It's easier for us because they have the lime green uniforms on, but you talk about some speed and athleticism, basically closing down and constricting some of those running lanes that Mihalik tried to escape through, but nothing doing. The turnover on downs.
Here's Jake Ryder now. He had a 72-yard punt a couple of years ago. One of the strong points on the special teams. Dearness Johnson standing back at the 33-yard line. Ryder gets off a good kick over the head of Johnson. Johnson picks it up and he's going to take off. He wants to make something happen. He gets over the 15-yard line, dropped at the 16, so that's where the Bulls will open up their second possession. There's T.J. Weiss right there, the new offensive coordinator. We're going to take a break right now from Raymond James. Bulls with the ball. Bulls have the lead, 7-0. Back inside Raymond James Stadium, 7-0. The Bulls scoring quick on their first possession. They'll have it for the second time. Of course, Hurricane Hermine passed by Tampa, headed up to Tallahassee, but it dumped 10 inches of rain on this field. And for more on that right now, let's head down to Mike Lefkoe.
Well, you saw the two types of cleats the Bulls have, the molded and the detached. Now, head equipment manager Jeremy Lee said the Bulls have all gone with the normal molded cleats because of how this field has dried up. They were prepared and ready to have those longer detached had the field stayed wet. Mike, back up to you.
All right, Michael, 3 mics in the booth here, or 1 down there, 2 in the booth.
It's all good.
Too many mics. I always thought that was a good name, but now there's too many mics hanging around here, so just call me Hey You. How's that? I'll call you Big Mike. How's that?
That works for me.
Flowers out of the shotgun, looking hand off to Mack, and Mack is just slammed to the turf at about the 24-yard line. Incidentally, I mentioned Jake Ryder with a 72-yard punt 2 years ago. He had a 68-yard punt that time for Towson.
Yeah, watch number 56 come from the left of your screen and really give a nice tackle. DeAndre Wallace is basically coming through with bad intentions, and the linebackers are the strength of this Towson's defense. So these guys will play downhill.
False start. Number 61 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Second down.
All 4 linebackers will play aggressive. They will play downhill. They run a 3-4 base scheme. Sometimes you'll see 4 guys. Sometimes you'll see 3, depending on the down and distance. But they are not afraid, nor are they intimidated by South Florida's size.
That penalty goes against Dominique Threet, one of the returning starters. He started 13 games last year. Flowers now looks over to the sidelines. He has trips to the top of your screen with Marlon Mack in the backfield. Boy, Mack, the last 2 openers. Can you imagine as a freshman, his first time he played college football, he rushed for 275 yards and 4 touchdowns. Flowers going up over the top, and this one's going to be picked off. He only had 8 picks to go with his 22 touchdowns last year. So he has a touchdown and an INT here, and the Tigers will have the ball inside Bull territory.
And Mike, you mentioned his secondary earlier. Yes, they are young and inexperienced, but that was a freshman, Justice Pettis-Dixon, actually undercutting number 87, Rodney Adams, and just an underthrown ball by Flowers. But you talk about adjusting and being aggressive at the same time. That's a really good look by number 17, Pettis-Dixon, really coming back in and undercutting and really just tracking that ball correctly. It's a good job by a freshman.
So the Tigers now with the ball at the 41-yard line, their second possession. First turnover of the game. Here's Victor. Boy, he looks like a bowling ball, huh?
Told you, man.
If I say Don Nottingham, am I aging myself there?
Either Don Nottingham, or you can go Eric Bieniemy all the way back to the Colorado days. And, you know, before what I was told when I did their game a couple of years ago, and it makes a lot of sense, he does remind you of Maurice Jones-Drew, the former Jacksonville Jaguar. And you know what? He doesn't have a lot of speed or that third-level burst to run away from people, but he can definitely bust through.
From here, kind of looks like Jacksonville helmets, doesn't it?
For the Bulls? Or for the Tigers?
For the Tigers, yeah. Look at the black with the...
Have you seen Jacksonville's helmets lately, the two-tone? doesn't look too good.
No, I'm going back to
Maurice Jones-Drew.
There he is, exactly, when you mentioned Jones-Drew. But there he is right there, 5'8", 223. Rob Ambrose was saying earlier this week, as he picks up a first down, he said, boy, he can be painful to watch because he can punish people.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his stature, he's 5'8". I mean, that could be a little bit generous, maybe 5'7.5", 5'6". But once he gets in those creases, he hides behind the lineman, and then before you know it, he's already to the second level. He's running over linebackers and even sometimes safeties if they come down and try to fill the alley.
Wow, Halleck out of the shotgun this time. Swings it out near side. It's complete and dropped at the 30-yard line. That's going to be Romeo Harris. Ronnie Hoggins, the sophomore out of Coconut Creek, Florida, coming up to make the stop. Boy, he had 15 D1 offers, including Texas and Wisconsin.
So right now the offense just trying to do a little bit of misdirection. Also, too, trying to settle down Mahalik, giving them some easy throws. That play didn't pick up much, but you're just trying to present different looks to a Bulls defense. And one thing I will say, this is a downhill running team. The only way you're going to really hurt the South Florida defense is if you run right at them as opposed to try to go on sideline to sideline.
A little misdirection this time, and
Nigel Harris.
Dumped. Coming up to make the stop is Harris.
You talk about a person who, in this defense, has really developed over the years, fast. Kind of reminds you of Derrick Brooks back in the day. He's a run and chase type of linebacker, so he's always going to be pretty much covered up by two defensive linemen in front of him. So less resistance to the ball carrier. All he has to do is go make the tackle.
I hesitated because that was Shane Simpson carrying the ball. Normally he's number 21. He switched his jersey right before the game to 13.
Oh, thanks, Shane.
To give 21 to one of his teammates. Big third down play here. Now Halleck looks right, comes back to the left, and it's going to bring up a kicking situation. Probably too deep for a field goal attempt.
Yeah.
Because Rob Ambrose during our call earlier this week said, don't even ask me about the kickers. I have no idea. We'll find out on Saturday. And you know what? When we made that phone call, tonight's kicker wasn't even on the roster.
Wow, he was dead serious about it too. But I mean, again, you know what? You're on the road. This is their first ever trip to Florida. Why not go ahead and go for it? Maybe take a shot to the end zone, I think, at this point, because all you really need to do is just get to the sticks, 8 yards to go. But why not go ahead and just take a shot? You're in shot territory.
Ball on the 28-yard line. That's Dessenberg in motion to the top of your screen. Now Halleck fires, has his man inside the 20, and Dessenberg gets down to the 10-yard line. And a big fourth down play. They're going to move the chains.
That's the senior basically understanding defensive coverage on the run because he sat down and avoided the zone and was able to sit in and get on the same page with Mahalik. Just going to the right of your screen, just sitting down, and was able to break a tackle, too, from Dietrich Nichols and actually able to get a little bit more yardage after contact. So a nice job by the senior, Andre Dessenberg.
Picked up 18 last year, averaged 14 yards a catch on 28 receptions. So now the Tigers on their second possession in the red zone. Victor puts his head down. Boy, the only way you can stop him is Devin Abraham came up and hit him very low.
Yeah, and he ran right through that tackle too as well. I mean, he's already low to the ground, so you got to kind of mix up how you're going to tackle Darius Victor or he embarrass you.
Now, you played linebacker at Illinois and, of course, in the National Football League. When you see someone like him coming at you, does it go through your mind, how am I going to take him on, or you just instinctively?
Well, instinctively, but you should already have premeditated thoughts because somebody like him, since he's already low to the ground, you got to at least hit him up high, and then maybe the next time you come in a one-on-one situation, then you want to try to get lower than he is. But that's obviously hard to do.
Good look at Nigel Harris, actually led the nation in forced fumbles a couple of years ago. And the Tigers are going to take their first time out
Towson calls
as they approach their 8th play of the drive, which started back on the 41 after the INT. 7 minutes, 11 seconds to go. Quarter number 1. Tigers are threatening, but they trail 7-zip. They're in the red zone. Back in Raymond James, 7-0 Bulls, but the Tigers are threatening on the 8-yard line. Get in on the action and get a bit of ASN gear yourself. Tweet a picture of you and your crew at the game, watching at home, or wherever you watch your favorite team. Each week, one winner at the FBS, one at the FCS level will win an ASN prize for the best fan photo. Tweet us at #BacktalkContest. For complete rules, go to www.americansportsnet.com/contest. Working out of the I formation.
Yeah, something you don't really see.
Yeah, I was going to say, Big Mike, we don't see
nowadays.
That very often. That's the second time we've seen the I formation now. It's second down. Ball at the 8-yard line. Tigers shifting. Here's a pitch and beautiful play defensively.
Good play. Jamon Thomas.
Number 18, Jamon Thomas, the sophomore out of Immokalee, coming up very quickly, and that means he's reading his keys perfectly.
Yeah, he's that rover. Number 18, he's sitting on your edge. He's the end man in line of scrimmage. Basically doing a really good job of attacking Darius Victor, causing him to hesitate just enough in the backfield, getting that tackle for loss. And I was just getting ready to say, you know, in the CAA, you have to run the football, especially once the weather starts to change out east. So again, don't try to run the ball east and west. Just try to pound the ball inside.
Loss of 4. It's 3rd and goal from the 12. Mel Halleck comes, fires, and it's incomplete.
I believe that was Thomas again, I believe, on coverage.
Intended receiver Christian Summers, their leading receiver, the senior, out of Pennsylvania, brings up a kicking situation, and now we get a chance to talk about that kicking game. So they had Tyler Williams, they had Dane Borges, Rob Ambrose saying that it was the best week, best camp, worst camp, a lot of inconsistencies. So here's Aiden O'Neill, a freshman who started in the Ohio University camp, left, went to Towson, and just signed on, got a jersey this week. This one from 19, a 29-yard kick. And the freshman gets his career out to a good start.
Hey, it's good. I mean, he act like he's been there before. Came in a high-pressure situation. You want to, your Coach Ambrose, you at least want to walk away and capitalize off that turnover. And as opposed to getting 7 points, you were able to get 3. And I guess maybe his kicking situation is solved because he's talking to him right now, saying good job.
Found a spot on the team. Good for him. 7-3, a 41-yard drive. And the Tigers, well, Rob Ambrose said, you know, South Florida has a lot of talent, a lot of speed.
They do.
And you saw that motion before that last play. He said, we're going to have a lot of formations, a lot of movement. We got to make those guys think, because the more they think, the less they can react.
Yeah, make those guys think, and also, too, try to get those guys out of position. So maybe if you get them to hesitate and step to their right and maybe try to come back with the play to the left, they can possibly open up some things in a run game. And eventually, if you can get your run game going, that'll force those linebackers to come close to the line of scrimmage. So by that way, you can start at least pushing the ball down the field on some play-action passes. So a lot of football left to be played, and we'll see this offense take shape. But I think it's a pretty clean game thus far with both of these two teams having the first game of the season. Normally, you see a lot of penalties by this time in the game.
There you see Dearness Johnson, the junior out of Immokalee, waiting the kick from another freshman, Dane Borges. Left-legged kicker, and this is taken out at about the 8-yard line.
Oh boy!
And there's some running room for the Bulls. There it is. Rodney Adams led the American Conference last year with 29 yards a return, and he gives the Bulls some excellent field position now.
You do see this blocking right here up front. It's a left return design all the way. You can see him just follow his blockers getting upfield. You see a lot of bodies just basically escort him down the sideline. Was almost able to break through that one, but a really good job by Adams following behind his blockers. And Mike, you talked about it. They led the conference last year in special teams, not only in kickoff return coverage, but also punt return. So the offense and defense gets a lot of credit, but special teams should be in there too.
This one's complete to the NC State transfer. That's Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and a high school teammate over in St. Petersburg of Rodney Adams.
That's unfair because they won a state championship in the 4x4 100. So you can see the speed and also too the height that both of these guys possess. But they are really excited about Valdez-Scantling, an NC State transfer, being able to come back home and contribute.
Marlon Mack takes it in for the score. Big hole.
Marlon Mack, I mean, that's what happens to you when you can do so many different things and attack a defense so many different ways. This is nothing more than just a inside zone handoff, and really good push up front by the offensive line. And I believe that was number 61, Threet. Get some initial push, get that double team, and it's basically open up a big running lane for Marlon Mack.
So Mack, who opened the game just 310 yards from breaking the school rushing record, takes it in for his first touchdown. He had 8 of those last year. Willie Taggart said he probably could have had 15. Nadelman on for the extra point, and he's 2 for 2 tonight.
Talk about these guys, and they strike fast. Good special team set it up, but watch these guys step in unison to the left. You see them a big 61. Big Dominique 3 just kind of clear it out with the combination block with Cameron Ruff. And anytime you give a running back 3 choices to run the ball, he can bang it, bounce it, or bend it. That particular moment, Mac just banged the ball right up in the gut.
Well, you said it didn't take any time. You used the word quick. How about 2 plays, 35 yards in 29 seconds? Wow.
Yeah, that's a good field position to do for you, and it seemed like it might have been a coverage bust on the other side when Marquez Valdez-Scantling got that pass wide open. But needless to say, you can't make mistakes when you're on the road, and especially against a team like this that can make you pay for it.
Well, Mike, how much fun do you think Rodney Adams and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, a couple of high school buddies, Adams returns the kick 52 yards. First catch for Marquez Valdez-Scantling goes 28 yards, and that sets up the touchdown for Marlon Mack. But getting back to Mack with the 8 touchdowns last year, Willie Taggart told us last night that several times he would move down the field, and then he'd tap out and say, hey, let someone else score the touchdown.
Seriously.
I mean, that's how unselfish he was.
That is good.
Or is, I should say.
Yeah, that is really, really good, because normally you don't hear about too many stories like that. But Taggart, he's promoting that team concept, and hey, this is a family. While we're teammates and we all have one goal, and you know what? If he's willing to give up some of his touchdowns, this team's going to be highly successful.
A short kick this time. It's brought out all the way to the 35-yard line. Again, that's Shane Simpson, the redshirt freshman out of Easton, PA. And it gives the Tigers good field position, but they trail right now 14-3.
Yeah, right now, the Towson, you really can't argue with the field position that you've had thus far. Now you just got to find a way to capitalize. And you know what, Morgan Mahalik? Hey, listen, if he's a dual threat, maybe start to send him on some design runs and put some of those defensive guys in some run-pass conflicts and show some of his athleticism.
He was the number 5 dual threat quarterback coming out of high school. Some miscommunication that time, but number 43, Augie Sanchez, was turning up the heat. He was about to level
the
Towson quarterback.
Yeah, that's a dangerous play. To me, you try to have too many options when you run a read option. Number one, you want to put the ball in the measure point, the belly of the running back, and read the end man on the line of scrimmage. It's very dangerous when you just try to do what Mahalik did, is pull it back and try to throw at the same time. Just make 2 decisions. Don't try to force it into 3, because that's how turnovers happen.
2nd and 10 from the 35. Mel Halleck play action. Tries to buy some time, fires, and has his man. If it's complete, it is. Over the 45 at about the 46-yard line. That's Sam Gallahan, a sophomore out of Springfield, Virginia.
Gallahan did a good job of getting open and actually
Ruling
coming
on the
back
field
to
is
the
an
ball.
incomplete pass. 3rd down.
It was incomplete.
Oh, they're going to call it. Looked like the ref was going to spot the ball at the 46. I guess he didn't control it as he went out of bounds.
It actually looked good from here, but we couldn't really see if he finished it through the catch.
Ambrose thought it was good.
Yep. Yeah, I was going to say Jared Ambrose. But yeah, just going back to that catch, Gallahan, 2 hands on it.
That left foot may have
Ruling
touched
on the
White.
field is an incomplete pass. The play is under review.
It looked like he was holding on to the football. There's no doubt about it. I think that left foot may have touched the white.
Yeah, I think they're getting ready to replay this. But I actually think this might be a catch, Mike, because he actually finished that catch all the way through contact and to the ground. But a good call by Jared Ambrose, the offensive coordinator, just moving the pocket, getting Mahalik on some run-pass options on the edge.
See, watch the left foot right there. I think he might have been out of bounds. I think he controlled the football. Peter Voss, our replay official, is taking a look at it right now. Mahalik just 2 for 7 to open up with 19 yards. 18 came on that 4th down conversion.
Oh, he's got that catch. He's got it. Yeah, he caught that ball well. I'll be curious to see what they have to say. But I'm with Coach Ambrose on that one. I mean, that looked pretty clean from upstairs, from our vantage point. You know, he pretty much possessed that one all the way through the catch.
Well, it looks like the coach is ready to accept the decision. Not much you can do, I guess.
No.
You have to look for indisputable video evidence, of course, upstairs.
Yeah, but either way, I think they found something with Mahalik, just moving the pocket. You know, get him on the perimeter, get him moving around just a little bit, because I think this defense is too fast and too quick, too strong up the middle to consistently move him off the spot. If he tries to sit back on 3-step and 5-step drops to try to set his feet, it just won't work.
It was ruled a catch, and then they took him away. They took the catch away and said it was incomplete. And now they're upstairs trying to take a look at it. And they're going to rule it incomplete. It's Peter Voss up there taking a look at it. He's our replay official, trying to make the final decision.
So we'll see what they have to say.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed as an incomplete pass.
Well, it's confirmed it's incomplete. Saw the best angles from our truck. The funny thing was it was ruled complete at first.
Yeah.
And they overruled that.
Yeah, from the naked eye, from our vantage point, it looked pretty good and all the angles too, but the referees on the sideline had a better view of it, and now you're working with third and long if you're Towson. You got to find a way to convert this.
Now Halleck fires. It's knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Looked like number 57, Nigel Harris, got his hand on it.
Yeah, anytime you can't get to the quarterback and your rush is neutralized, I believe that was Kevin Bronson was able to get his hands up. Yeah, it
Good
was.
call. Yeah, it was Bronson. I stand corrected.
Yeah, 6'4" wingspan, number 99 in the center of your screen, fighting through a double team. Just reached up and knocked that ball away to get the turnover on down.
Bronson, just a sophomore out of Delray Beach.
He actually had a really good Miami Beach Bowl game last year. He took over a series or two against Western Kentucky.
Johnson's going to take this at the 15. He drops the football and wisely pounces on it.
Can we blame that on the molded cleats, maybe? But we didn't even get a chance to get into it, but if the field was wet, I think both teams should have come out their screw-ins, but me being down on the field pregame, the field was hard as a rock, so the sun dried it up, so now you're back to your molded cleats.
Well, Big Mike, tune in next Saturday for the Battle of the Bay State as UMass and Boston College meet for a cross-state rival at noon Eastern Time. Check the local listings on AmericanSportsNet.com and stay up to date at Live on ASN. Bulls ready to go. They love that up-tempo. Willie Taggart, the head coach, calling the plays from the sidelines. And defense stretching out. Mack making something out of nothing. And Mack turns the corner. Wow. Marlon Mack saw a sea of white jerseys, reversed his field, and just took off for the first down.
They got a flag, too, right here at the bottom of the field, the near sideline.
Holding for 85 of the offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Yes, it was holding on Dillon, the tight
Correction,
end.
half the distance to the goal, first down.
Because it looked like pretty good penetration by number 41, Jordan Minette. Coming to the left of your screen, you see 41 right here in white. And then you see the tight end, 85, Dillon, just didn't let him go. Or else Minette would have made that tackle, but needless to say, what a really good run in the block by Marlon Mack. Another explosive run, but all for naught.
Mack has led the American Conference 2 straight years in rushing. Hand off to the right side, up over the 15-yard line.
See if you get.
And again, it's this time it's going to be Dearness Johnson, junior out of Immokalee.
They're getting right up to the line again, and they're starting to keep the ball in between the tackles.
You know, we mentioned the fact that Willie Taggart, they like the up-tempo, and he calls all the plays.
Yeah.
Well, the players went to him last year and said, we want to play even faster.
Wow, okay.
And so the two offensive coordinators that just joined Willie Taggart said they've seen him in practice, but they're waiting to see how fast Willie calls the plays and how fast this team can get up-tempo.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting last night during the meeting. Flowers, as Willie Taggart told us, he has this acute ability of making something out of nothing.
Yeah, when the players want to go faster, that just means they're more comfortable in the system. And I believe this is their second and third year under Coach Taggart. So they do want to go fast, but this is the problem that Flowers presents to a lot of defenses. He has the ability to extend plays when nothing's open. Good coverage on the back end by the defense of Towson. You just got to account for Flowers when he's scrambling around in the open field.
Intended receiver that time, Tyree McCants, another sophomore out of Niceville, Florida. But Willie Taggart now in his 4th season has really done a nice job of building this program. It's built for the future,
yes,
even though they're pretty good right now.
mean, they got so many guys on defense and offense that are juniors or younger. We got a couple of seniors starting, so I mean the foundation is pretty well set right here for this Bulls program.
And they have 19 players out of the 44 on the 2 deep that are from this Bay area.
The Bay made, yeah. Just locking the doors down and keeping some of that local talent close. It's always big.
Second down from the 31. Flowers again, felt the pressure, takes off, and he's finally wrapped up at about the 34-yard line. Coming up to make the stop that time is Chris Tedder, the CAA Defensive Rookie of the Year last year out of Virginia.
Yeah, I believe Tejada had a shot on him. Upshur had a shot on him, but just, again, the ability to extend plays and get yourself out of trouble, that's the problem that Flowers presents to a lot of defenses.
3rd and 7 over the middle, and it's going to bring up a 4th down situation. Dillon, the intended receiver. Taggart telling us last night that 37% last year on 3rd down. That's one area he really wants to improve.
In that situation, I mean, Dillon was running wide open up the seam, but Taggart has to really set his feet, come to balance in the pocket, so he can get that ball waist high to Dillon.
So Jonathan Hernandez, the redshirt sophomore and Florida State transfer, will come on and punt for the first time. Simpson back to receive it. At the 16-yard line, it was almost blocked. Hernandez gets it off. Simpson comes up to the 30, calls the fair catch. And the Tigers will have it at the 30-yard line. We mentioned earlier that Taggart as a player and as a coach, they just keep getting better and better wherever he is.
Yeah. I mean, if you just go back to his years at Western Kentucky, 2-10, same thing at South Florida, but then had a winning season, 2 winning seasons at Western Kentucky. It took him maybe another extra year to do it at South Florida, but he seems to have the ship going in the right direction. And I tell you what, he keeps the expectations high, and he's telling the fans and players, don't get complacent.
And really, you could say the same thing when he joined Jim Harbaugh at Stanford.
Yes. Yeah,
they took over a team that went 1-11.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, he went to Western Kentucky, but then all of a sudden Stanford's 12-1.
Yeah.
That's an amazing turnaround.
Good point. I mean, playing for Jack Harbaugh, which is Jim and John's father, and then actually coaching for Jim and getting some of that influence in the power running game. I mean, they still run the ball and keep it in between the tackles, just do it out of spread formations.
Fumbled snap. Mihalik will take off and get nothing. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. That'll bring up another 3rd down for the Tigers at the 32-yard line.
The miscommunication between Flattery and also Mihalik. Something that should be so routine. Sometimes it's always not, but at least they didn't turn the ball over in this situation. Now you're in a right now you're presented with something to where you can at least get better field position if you don't get the first down.
4 wideouts for Mihalik right now from the 31. Dessenberg in motion. Mihalik fires. Dessenberg has it, and it's another 1st down for Towson.
Tell you what, Dessenberg is becoming a big play wide receiver just like he was last year, but actually taking his game up a notch. He's doing nothing more than a skinny post. A free release on the outside. I'm sorry, on the inside. Came back underneath it again. Just staying with it, coming to the left of your screen. Jumps up, catches the ball.
Quick release when that ball comes out of his hand.
He does.
Empty backfield down to the gun. 5 wideouts for the Tigers. And this one's almost picked off. And it just slides through the hands of Dietrich Nichols. He had 4 picks. He was a first-team all-conference selection in the American Athletic Conference last year.
I like the aggressive play call and start to push some of these throws down the field. Almost came up short. Romeo Harris on a post corner route. And you talk about the release, that was actually a good ball because he was able to make it through Dietrich Nichols' hands. Just got to find a way to come up with that catch.
Bulls with 25 takeaways last year. Raymond Woody saying that he'd like to see even more this season. Simpson gets the call. He's wrapped up by a sea of green jerseys shy of the 45-yard line. A gain of 1, maybe 1.5 yards on the play.
I mean, these guys, this is an angle blocking team. So they're going to break the line up as much as they can where you're going to have the guards pulling from their right or to their left, trying to create different angles and get these linebackers and defensive linemen out of position and try to create running lanes. So even if you're not getting yardage, you have to find a way to stick with the running game.
Another 3rd down situation. Another play with 5 wideouts for Mihalik.
Blitz.
Oh! Didn't see him coming. Nigel Harris.
Nigel Harris set it up pretty good. I believe he actually came on a delayed pressure green dome. Watch number 57 come from the right of your screen and just explode through Mahalik. I'm surprised he didn't jaw that ball loose. Going with the strip sack, but again, one of those run-and-chase type linebackers, and he can basically make plays at 3 yards or less, and if you want to send him on the blitz, he can get to the quarterback.
Jake Ryder, the senior out of Maryland, will be punting from just over the 20-yard line. Already has a 68-yard punt. Nice spiral kick, goes out of bounds, though. They'll probably spot that one closer to the 15-yard line. Actually, around the 20-yard line, it went out of bounds. So the Bulls, with 12 seconds to go in the first quarter, will be 80 yards away from pay dirt to leading 14-3 here in the 2016 opener.
Yeah, Coach Raymond Woody, the new defensive coordinator for the Bulls, dialed up some pressure, got the turnover on downs. With Taggart the whole time, the linebackers coach promoted this year, finally got his chance, and the defense, they look like they haven't lost a step.
45-yard punt by Ryder that time, so Flowers works out of the gun from the 20. And it's not often you see that.
Yeah,
the fumble on the snap.
Yeah.
And it looks like Towson has the football. At least they're saying they have the football.
Yeah.
And it's going to be at about the 19-yard line if they get it.
I think he said it's second down. The referee just put his hands up. Yeah, second down. Tejada was in there.
Cameron Ruff looks like they finally got it, but the Tigers.
Yeah, Cameron just basically hiked the ball to his left ankle. So for some reason, might have slipped out. Hiked that ball back. Flowers. He didn't make it. If I'm the offensive line coach, you got to lose that glove, Mr. Cameron. At least from your hiking hand or your snapping hand.
Well, that's going to do it for the first quarter. We played 15 minutes here inside Raymond James Stadium. 2016 opener for both Towson and USF. Bulls strike first. 1:39 seconds it took them to go 75 yards for the first touchdown of the season. They head for the second quarter right now, leading 14-3. And back inside Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, 14-3. The Bulls on top of the Tigers. As we check in with the third member of our team, let's go downstairs and hear from Mike.
Hey, Mike. Well, the season has started here on the opening weekend of the regular season. It'll also end here, January 9th, 2017. This is the site to the College Football Playoff National Championship. And while we're talking about USF and maybe Houston, too, it's not inconceivable that the two of these teams might end up here. Houston had a big win earlier today against Oklahoma. Should they run the table? Maybe USF runs the table. They could start and end the year back here at Raymond James Stadium.
Well, there's a lot of ifs, but it's interesting. Boy, Houston was impressive today over Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had that one circled on their schedule. So I think these guys are pretty for real.
More on that right after this play as the Bulls are ready to open up the second quarter from the 20-yard line. Marlon Mack gets to about the 21, a gain of 1. I was going to say, how about Tom Herman as the offensive coordinator at Ohio State? He wins the national championship, takes over Houston, goes 13-1, beats Florida State in the bowl game, and now opens up with a win over Oklahoma.
Yeah, in all those games, too, those big games you mentioned, Florida State and I believe Oklahoma and maybe 2 last year, they were underdogs, and they've won all 4 of those games against some Power 5 schools. So be on the lookout for the Cougars.
Well, Flowers overshoots his man that time, number 89. That's Mitchell Wilcox, a redshirt freshman. They're really high on this young man. Of course, they already are very impressed with Elkanah Dillon, who had 126 receiving yards from the tight end spot last year in the opener.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Dillon and Wilcox, and you can see Taggart just glow when he talks about these 2 tight ends. He said they could probably be the most prolific tight ends in school history. But there you saw in that pass play, Flowers still has to work on some accuracy, still need to develop some touch, because you can hurt a lot of different defenses different ways. But if he gets his accuracy together, I mean, he could be almost unstoppable, or at least one of the better quarterbacks in the nation.
A little shorter punt that time, but Shane Simpson calls the fair catch at the 43-yard line. So we'll step away, take a timeout now with 14:22 to go before halftime. It's 14-3. Tigers have the ball when we come back. Bulls on top of the Tigers, 14-3, and you can make your voice heard Vote for the ASN Player of the Week beginning every Monday at 9 a.m. The only fan-voted Player of the Week award is only at AmericanSportsNet.com. You know, Big Mike, we're talking about the last 4 games of the regular season. The Bulls averaged 47 points a game, and from the outside looking in, you see Quentin Flowers, you think, okay, that Gulf Coast offense, something clicked. The light bulb went off. But the amazing thing is, we're talking with Willie Taggart, he said sometimes he takes positions and players to his house for dinner.
Okay.
And he had some of the skill positions, players at his house. As Malhalik goes downtown, right over the middle, and it's going to be stopped at about the 1-yard line. Wow.
Christian Summers.
So Summers averaged about 14.2 last year. That's going to add to his numbers.
Yeah, watch this play action pass, number 1. Just taking a chance on first down, just presenting different looks. They knew that South Florida was going to come up and try to sell out for the run, but a really good call by Jared Ambrose coming up with the play action shot down the field to Christian Summers. And one of the other things that Summers said, you know, a transfer from junior college, that the game was a little too fast for him last year.
The runner being stopped short of the goal line. Plays under review.
The game was a little bit too fast for him last year, but he actually settled in and was able to actually work more efficiently, a lot quicker this camp around. But that was a big play because he got behind not only the quarterback, but he got behind the safety. So, and a good throw by Mahalik too, on time and on target.
Right on target. Beautiful throw.
Yeah, watch him run underneath this catch. Just trying to finish it. You can't really blame him for trying to sell out, trying to reach for that goal line.
It's a good thing the ground can't cause the fumble.
Exactly, or else it'd be South Florida's ball.
You know, it's funny. I'm old school, but I think they should change that rule. You got to protect the ball. I think the ground can cause the fumble. You got to hold on to that pigskin.
I see where you're going with it. I can see from it both ways. I mean, to me, it's a case-by-case basis. I think in this instance here, he's just reaching for the goal line. So, I mean, the ball came out.
So it should be a fumble.
Nah. It's basically ground calls it on that one.
Exactly.
But see,
the rules. But I'm just saying that if he tries to stretch out the ground, you got to protect that football. I mean, a friend of mine once told me I'm an idiot for saying that, but I really believe if you're carrying the football you try to do something like that and the ground it pops out, that's your fault.
Yeah, you should possess it all the way through. But the thing is, in college, the ground can't call.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The first and goal.
And we will get back to that Flowers story about having dinner over at the head coach's. Wouldn't you know that Morgan Malhalik would throw a 56-yard strike right in the middle of that story, talking about the opposing quarterback. That's what competition's all about, right?
That's right, man. I mean, Christian Summers, too, basically said he wants the ball, and I guess he had an article in the Baltimore Sun saying that, hey, listen, I'm not a Z, I'm not an X, I'm not a slot receiver, I'm just a complete wide receiver, so just give me the ball and I'll make catches. Good example right there.
13 different Tigers caught passes last year. The top 2 graduated. But Summers off to a good start. Ball at the 1-yard line. Darius Victor puts his head down and breaks the plane for the touchdown. So Victor, you know, we talk about Marlon Mack with his 1,000-yard seasons.
Yep.
Well, Darius Victor also trying to make it 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Only one player for Towson has done that.
Yeah, you watch number 72, Antonio Harris, pull to his right, trying to create some space, but that was just a one-on-one block, basically, or a tackle that Victor had to beat up against Malik Dixon. But needless to say, it's a flag. Hold it.
The result of the play is a touchdown. Personal foul. Illegal use of hands to the face, number 6 of the defense. That 15-yard penalty will be tacked on to the kickoff.
Okay, that was a bit confusing, but it's a touchdown by Towson. Good run by Victor. And you just see the play strength, what he was able to do on that run is basically bowl over defensive backs.
Mack opened this game with 13 100-yard games. Darius Victor opened this game with 13 100-yard games. They both have a touchdown. And right now, the young freshman Aiden O'Neal, the one-time Ohio University Bobcat, already with a 29-yard field goal with a chance for the extra point to make this 14-10.
Darius Victor trying to become the second back in history to rush for 1,000 yards 3 straight seasons. The only other running back to do that was Terrence West.
And I understand, I was told today that Terrence West could be the starter for the Ravens this year.
He could be. And just going back to this play, you see big 72 Antonio Harris set this up in 48, Dreon Johnson push it through, but a one-on-one play strength from Victor over Dixon.
By the end of this season, you see number 7 right there. He's going to be number 2 all-time leading rusher behind Terrence West.
Yep.
Young man you mentioned who's with the Baltimore Ravens. Look at the cast on his hand. I doubt if he'll be catching many balls here.
Yeah, I mean, this
next couple of weeks.
Yeah, this is news to us because he only has 2 functional fingers, which is his index and his thumb. But he still was able to go in and carry that ball, actually possess it, hold it. Basically finished the run through contact, but you can see it right there. He's using his index and his thumb finger to try to hold on to that ball, but that just shows you the mental toughness that he's able to play with. Number one, with a broken either index, pinky, or middle finger, but still able to score touchdowns at the same time.
Next possession, I want to talk about some Terrence West numbers at Towson back in 2013. Borges kicks it out of the end zone, so the Bulls will have it at the 25-yard line with 13:42 to go before halftime.
Now at this point, you want to see how the Gulf Coast offense responds. Actually being hit in the mouth, per se. Actually started out pretty well. Now you got to go back. Missed a couple opportunities on some throws from Flowers, connecting with Dillon, or not connecting with Dillon. So we'll see how fast they operate coming out, see if they go at a fever pitch or just slow it down and practice the offense.
Well, to cap off that story, they were at Taggart's house, and the players, the running backs, went up to the coach and said, "Hey, coach, I think Flowers is afraid of you. You got to make him loosen up. We want to see the Flowers that we used to know." So Taggart just went up to him and said, "Hey, just loosen up and play some football. Be yourself out there." And bam, the very next game against Syracuse, they took off. And hence the story where they scored about 47 points a game over the last four games, winning 7 of their last 8 regular season games. It's amazing what confidence can do for you, huh?
Yeah, especially when you got the vote of confidence from the coach. And another thing, too, I mean, Taggart said that he fit this offense to fit Quentin Flowers' skill set. And you don't have too many coaches that have that flexibility to adjust what they know and what they've used to doing for so many years to adjust to a player's skill set. So I think that says a lot about Coach Taggart. And you know what? He made the good choice of just turning the reins loose from Quentin Flowers because it paid off big dividends. It's going to continue to pay big dividends for this program.
This is Flowers. Take the handoff, gets up to the midfield stripe, and picks up the first down. Had to get to the 50 for the first down. That's going to move the chains. I take my hat off to Taggart because he could have sat there and told us it's the system.
Sure.
He just, the light bulb went off, something clicked, but he said, no, it's all him. He just let him, cut him loose and said, just be yourself. Of course, Taggart set 11 records when he was a quarterback at Western Kentucky.
I mean, that's a good point. That's just quarterback to a quarterback, I think, in that instance, because even with Coach Taggart talking to Flowers, I'm pretty sure he understood what he was going through, even though football was a little bit different back when Taggart was a quarterback, but still, he can relate and he can coach him through different things. But if all he needed to tell him to do was just settle down and take this team over, then everything kind of worked out. So that's good trust by the coach and being adjustable in his approach with his player.
Taggart, 4-year starter, Western Kentucky. Turned things around as a player, turned things around as a coach, and now he's certainly headed in the right direction here at South Florida. Boy, Mack hits that hole on the left side. It's going to move the chains. Another first down. He gets down to the 40-yard line of the Tigers.
I'll tell you what, man. You talk about Marlon Mack getting downhill. Good blocking up front again. Good pickoff by the offensive lineman. Basically catch those blitzers and intersect them on their way to the running back. But you're talking about some second and third level bursts by Marlon Mack. Just sticking one foot in the dirt, getting downhill, and getting positive yards on the field.
Opens up the season with 5 straight 100-yard games.
Where's he at right now? Is he close to it?
Right now he's at about 50. He's halfway there to his 6th straight.
Explosive.
9 times hit the century mark last year, 13 for his career. And again, he's only a junior.
Yeah, the best ways to describe Marlon Mack, I guess in one word, is explosive. Run game, passing game, it doesn't matter. He's getting out of Dodge quick.
Not too much that time. Completed to Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
It's a good job by Troy Jeter on the outside. Again, the only senior in the secondary, so he's seen a lot of football, so he recognizes a bubble screen or a smoke screen when he sees it. He's able to fight through it, eliminate the run after the catch.
So Jeter out of Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. They've produced a few football players.
Yeah, they have. Is that where Darrell Reeves is from?
Yep, Aliquippa. Ohio State had a couple of DBs back in the 90s from Aliquippa. Here's Adams. Adams is going to be dragged down.
Excellent.
Nice play.
Excellent.
By Deshaun Cummings, the junior out of Maryland. Just kind of almost horse-collared him, but did what he had to do to bring him down.
Excellent job by the defensive end, number 51, Deshaun Cummings. Basically fight through his gap. Just going to the left of your screen right here. He actually just grabbed his jersey and didn't get up in that neck area, to what would have been a horse collar tackle. But being able to hold on and make that tackle and basically make it 3rd and 11. Not sure how far Adams would have gotten if he didn't get stopped.
9th play of the drive right now, 3 of 5 on 3rd down, so they've improved there from last year already. Mack.
Ball's out.
And it's going to be recovered by the Tigers.
Who was that safety that came down? I believe that was Monty Fenner, number 8.
Minot comes up with the football. And so the Tigers already with an INT and now a fumble recovery.
I mean, you talk about number 8 flying downhill. He's going to come from the right of your screen, set him up on a delayed draw. Everything looks good. He's fighting through, and I believe coming right there. Nice solid form tackle on the back end. Couldn't get the number of whoever delivered the hit. Good job. Look at linebacker.
Yeah, it looks
I
like
think at that point. Yeah, DeAndre Wallace. Yeah, right there. Good shot. Yeah, freezer right there. Knocking that ball away. I mean, since it was in 3rd and 11, I'm pretty sure he might have been in the Tampa 2 coverage, but watch him just come, just zero in. Didn't necessarily wrap up Marlon Mack, but he put a solid enough shot to where he jarred that ball loose and got a much-needed turnover to end that drive from South Florida.
Mack obviously taking the brunt of that hit. Earlier in the broadcast, we talked about the fact that Dearness Johnson and Darius Tice could start for a lot of football teams. They're going to get some carries here tonight because Mack, well, needless to say, football terminology, got his bell rung there by DeAndre Wallace. Well, he started with, needed 309 to tie, 310 to break the new record. He's down to 259 now. And it's good to see him walk off under his own power.
I'll tell you what, man, Coach Ambrose has Towson ready to play some football. Whether they're FCS, CAA, or not, I mean, if you look at the conference that they're in, it's considered the SEC of the FCS. And these guys play good football out east, and they are hanging in with an explosive offense every step of the way.
Well, you look at that FCS and you look at the CAA, they've got 6 teams in the top 25.
Yeah.
They've had a team in the Final Four 3 of the last 4 seasons. And Towson finished 5-3 in conference play last year. And of course, Richmond, William and Mary, and James Madison all went to the playoffs, but so did New Hampshire.
Yeah.
New Hampshire got in, Towson didn't get in. And Rob Ambrose used that to tell his team, hey, we can't just be on the doorstep, we got to knock the door down.
Yeah. At that point, he said, you're not good enough to be good enough. And that's been kind of like the motivation through spring ball and also fall camp. Even though they finished 7-4, they still missed the playoffs.
That's Summers again on the receiving end. Tom Piro, our producer, just informed me that Richmond knocked off Virginia today.
Seriously?
Yep. Albany beat Buffalo last night.
So there you have it.
And of course, Maine, 3-8 last year, picked 9th in the CAA. They gave UConn all they could handle the other night. They really, really played well under their new head coach, Joe Harasimiak. UConn needed a 37-yard field goal to win that 24-21. 3rd down, 5 to go from the 31. They're 1 for 6 in 3rd down conversions, but Dessenberg takes care of that. Now 2 for 7 as they move the chains.
Yeah, another free release for Dessenberg down at the bottom of the field. No resistance off the line of scrimmage from the quarterback. And I mean, that was just an easy pitch and catch for Mahalik and Dessenberg to continue to move the chains. So again, I mean, you look at this CAA team, don't really have a lot of athletes that up to the level of South Florida, but here giving this team all that they can handle on the road.
Well, 53 scholarships, and they've been very competitive over the years. As a matter of fact, this is the second straight year that Towson will open up against the American Conference. They played ECU a couple of years ago in 2013 when they played in the national championship game. They opened at UConn and beat them quite handily. As a matter of fact, Rob Ambrose used to be a coach over there in Stores for the Huskies.
Yeah, anytime, any place. You want to get your team ready to go in CAA play in non-conference, but got to credit him of taking this game and coming down here for the school's first ever trip to the Sunshine State, Florida.
Yeah, it's the first time they ever played a team from Florida, as a matter of fact. Good swarming to the defense that time as Darius Victor had nowhere to go.
Yeah, good penetration that time by the defensive line. Coming up and filling up and constricting some of those running lanes. Another tackle by, I believe, 57, Nigel Harris. But you see 57 hovering around again. Not necessarily finishing them off, but getting to them right away. To where you could have Kirk Livingstone come in and finish them up. And again, Nigel Harris, he's going to be one of these surprise impact players in the AAC.
That's the 5th tackle for loss for the Bulls so far tonight. Quarterback draw, and Mihalik's going to get close, but not close enough. It'll bring up another 4th down situation. They've already converted 1 4th down.
Yeah, I like that design run. I like the play. I mean, you can kind of see now why he was, a 4 or 5 star recruit coming out, a dual threat. He ate up a lot of ground quickly, but I think in this situation, you have to punt the ball away because then you're just putting the Gulf Coast offense right halfway at the 50-yard line, not giving them a long field. Play the field position battle right here.
I think Ambrose is going to throw caution to the wind. He's going to go for it. They were 38% last year on 4th down. Matter of fact, a lot of teams had success against the Bulls on 4th down.
USF takes its first time out of the half.
You talked about tackling too. Raymond Woody, one of the things he told us, the defensive coordinator, said they missed a lot of tackles. We'll talk more about that when we come back on the other side. 7 minutes and 8 seconds to go. 4th down situation now for the Tigers. They trail by only 4. Bulls by 4. Tigers facing a 4th and 2. See interviews of your favorite players and coaches and get expert analysis on football's trending topics. College Football Showcase all week long on ASN. Your team, your passion, your network. Mentioned Raymond Woody saying last year he went back and looked at the film. They missed 150 tackles, so that's something they really worked on hard in camp, is wrapping up and making sure they bring the guy down.
You see Mihalik go out wide at the top. Simpson's in the backfield in the Wildcat formation.
Simpson takes off. He needs 2. He's not going to get it. He is swarmed under.
So the ball came out in the process, and it did. Would have been a turnover on downs anyway. Jamon Thomas came up with it. Tried to get just a little too cute, I think, in that aspect. But you got to give Coach Ambrose credit for trying. But right in that murkiness, the ball came out. Jamon Thomas was alert enough to fall on it. Get the turnover on down.
So he gets the stats, but he wasn't going to get the first down anyway. I mean, for a Wildcat on a 4th and 2 is very slow developing, trying to pick his hole. So the Bulls now with great field position. Flowers wants to take advantage, going for broke, and he's got it! Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
I like it, I like it, I like it. Simply because when you have an offensive coordinator, anytime you get a turnover and you're at midfield or closer, you take a shot towards the end zone, and right there you can see why Marquez Valdez-Scantling, the reason why the coaching staff is so excited about him, a North Carolina State transfer, it's going to go right to the bottom of your screen. Nice arm strength by Quentin Flowers putting that ball up in the air, and you just see the speed from Valdez-Scantling. He's going to be able to get under this ball and run right past Troy Jeter, who was in pretty good position, but just that last bit of separation quickness by Valdez-Scantling to go ahead and catch that 51-yard strike.
Well, last year, 33 scoring drives of 2 minutes or less. How about one play, 51 yards?
I love it. I love the aggressiveness. Anytime you get a turnover, you have to make the defense pay, whether it be turnover on downs, or in this case, it was both the turnover on downs and the fumble recovery. But you got to put a shot towards the end zone because you got to present different looks and give the defense something else to think about.
You mentioned offensive coordinator. Keep in mind, though, that Willie Taggart, the head coach, he's calling the shots down there.
He's calling the plays.
And he called it right on the money that time. So Marquez Valdez-Scantling out of across the bay, St. Petersburg, Lakewood High School. Boy, what a great start for him as a Bull. 51-yard touchdown. So Flowers now 7 of 13. A pick, but he's got a 51-yard score and a 73-yard touchdown.
And just another weapon for him to throw the ball to when he does drop back to pass the ball. And I mean, basically, you know, Valdez-Scantling, he's not necessarily the best wide receiver on the team because that goes to Rodney Adams, and we've seen him just a little bit, but we haven't seen him stretch the field just yet. But all these different options, and they can move around and be interchangeable from the slot, from the outside. So this offense is going to be something to watch later on this season.
Mike, I think I said 73-yard touchdown. It was a 43-yard touchdown, so I stand corrected. I apologize for that, but it's 2 touchdowns for Flowers already. This is going to be Simpson from the 3. Simpson finds the pocket, takes it, and he's tripped up at the 30-yard line. So coming up is Devin Abraham on special teams and making the tackle. 27-yard return.
It's a good return, too, by Shane Simpson. Couldn't convert that 4th and 2, but was able to at least come back out on that kickoff return and get some pretty good field position. So again, a really good touchdown by Valdez-Scantling. He's basically beating Troy Jeter down the field. And at the last second, having enough separation to run underneath and catch that ball.
And it's not like he was sitting the bench either at NC State. He came back here. He had 50 catches for 800 yards and 14 touchdowns. His senior year of high school, I should say, before he went to NC State, but he got playing time with the Wolfpack.
See, I think at this point, I understand that Jared Ambrose, the offensive coordinator for Towson, does an excellent job of setting up plays, especially with the ankle blocking, where you're breaking up the line and pulling these guards. But I would say probably try to switch more to a zone scheme that the South Florida Bulls are running, simply because you want to give Darius Victor a 3-way go.
And speaking of the big running back, he's tripped up at the 39, had to get to the 40 for the first down. Now, we mentioned the fact that he's going to probably climb to number 2 all-time on the rushing list behind Terrence West.
Yep.
Listen to these numbers for West. 4,849 yards, 84 touchdowns, 41 as a senior. That 2013, the year they played in the national championship game. Guess how many times he carried the ball? 413 times that year.
He's pretty much unstoppable on that run that they had, those couple of playoff runs and getting to the national championship game in the FCS. You just knew he was something special every time he touched the ball. He's doing it right now in the National Football League.
Trying to push the pile. He had to get to the 40. Not sure if forward progress will give him to him. I think the spot will be just shy of that, unless the officials are generous. It looked like the Bulls met him and stopped him from hitting the 40-yard line, which they did. They're going to be about 6 inches shy.
Yeah, pretty good battle by Malik Dixon, number 34, and Darius Victor going on. Every single time it seems like Victor's going to get a head full of steam to charge forward. 34 is right there to meet him, whether it's on a goal line or whether it's right now in the middle of the open field.
Another 4th down play. This time, Halleck picks up the first down and moved the chains.
Like it.
So they picked up 2 4th down conversions so far here tonight. To finish off the Terrence West story back in 2013, 41 touchdowns, 2,500 yards. He didn't even win the Walter Payton Award. Jimmy Garoppolo won it from Eastern Illinois, and guess what? West rushed for 354 yards against Eastern Illinois.
Yeah, he'd have been in that semifinal game, right?
Yeah, but Garoppolo wins the award.
You know how hard it is to run for that many touchdowns and that many yards, and basically Jimmy Garoppolo was just standing around playing 7-on-7, just whipping the ball around the yard at Dino Babers' offense. He's a good player. I give him credit, but man, it would have been hard not to give Terrence West that Walter Payton Award.
At least a co-award, right?
Yeah, you could split that in half.
And I understand now, I'm told that it's not even called the Walter Payton Award anymore. It's the Stats Offensive Player of the Year. How do you take Walter Payton's name off an award like that?
Yeah, who's in charge of that?
I don't know. I don't know who made that call.
If you want to add stats to it, it's the Walter Payton Stats Award. If you want to do it that way, but you can't take a Hall of Famer's name off of the award.
I agree with you 100%. Now, Halleck finds his man about the 48-yard line, the big fullback Emmanuel Holder. Boy, he was a preseason All-American, and Ambrose telling us earlier does he get any carries? He said no, but he must be pretty good at what he does because
he is really good at what he does. I mean, he's actually on a buddy of mine's. He's on the NFL PA Bowl watch list this year. And as you mentioned before, he's an All-American, a real big body, does a good job of blocking. And then when you need him to catch the ball, he comes up in big situations.
5'11", 266, seventh play of the drive. They're 2 for 9 on third down. This is a 3rd and 4. Summers gets over the 50. He's going to be shy. Nice open field tackle by Dietrich Nichols.
I mean, I think at this point, again, if you're Ambrose, you got to go for this.
And no doubt, I think he will.
Yeah, about 4th and 1. And just basically line up like he did the last time with Mihalik and get behind the 2 centers, or the center and the 2 guards, Flattery and Evans and Harris, and just become a human plow.
This is the 4th time that the Tigers in the opener on the road against an American team are going for it on 4th down here in the first half.
30-second timeout.
You got to stay aggressive. You got to risk some things, and you know what, his players are responding to the risk that they're doing. I just wouldn't get too cute in this situation. You know what? If running the ball first is your MO, go ahead and sneak it. Don't try to get too fancy. Try to come up with the play action fake down the field and try to pass the ball.
Well, check out our Instagram account at Live on ASN for a behind-the-scenes look at everything ASN.
It's like, you know, whenever we do games, I'm going to tweet out our pictures so that everybody can see them. I know you're not on social media, but at least when we do games together, I'll put you out on social media.
I'll just make me look good, okay?
It's all good, man.
Doctor it up a little bit.
I can enhance it.
Towson at just 1.4 yards per rush so far tonight against this Bull defense. But now facing a 4th down and probably less than a yard. Mihalik got it last time. He moves the pile again. You know, that Wildcat didn't work, but the last 2 times, you're right.
Yeah.
Mihalik just to kind of move the pile, and with the help of his friends up front, of course.
Of course. And he did a good job, too, of basically understanding where he was, because Nigel Harris, number 57, came down to that mug position to where he was in the A-gap between the guard and the center. And basically, Mihalik made the adjustment to just go where Harris wasn't. So I can see why Coach Ambrose is pretty excited about Morgan Mihalik, the Oregon transfer, and what he's able to do in his skill set.
Play action out of the I formation. Mihalik fires and had his man at the 40-yard line, looking for his big tight end, Tanner Vallely, and just couldn't hold on to it because decent coverage again by USF.
Yeah, dangerous throw to try to come back in the middle of the field. It looked like he had enough room to maybe even extend that play and run, you know, maybe pick up some yards that way. Maybe not. He had Augie Valdez screaming down his face, but still, dangerous throw trying to come back in the middle of the defense. Almost, it's a turnover right there.
Twin receivers to the top of your screen. That's where Mihalik wants to go, and he just simply throws this one away. Good coverage by the Bulls that time. Ronnie Hoggins, the sophomore out of Coconut Creek, Florida, is all over the intended receiver.
That was a good job by Augie Sanchez, the Buckets Award candidate, actually becoming the end man on the line of scrimmage and preventing Mihalik from escaping the pocket and forcing him to rush that throw.
Yeah, earlier I mentioned Ronnie Hoggins had 15 D1 offers, including Texas, Wisconsin, but Willie Taggart, you know, figuratively, there's a saying, build a wall around your state. He's building a wall around the Bay.
He is.
Keeping, 49 players on the roster from the Bay area?
Keeping it homegrown, man. Don't really have to go too far. It's a good look right there at Augie Sanchez. Older brother Armando played linebacker here too from the years of 2009 to 2011. Pretty sure those conversations are pretty interesting. Who had more tackles in their career, who's going to finish with more tackles in their career.
Coach Ambrose giving his quarterback a few choice words.
I'm pretty sure it's something we cannot repeat because this is a family show, but whatever it was, miscommunication between Mihalik. Not sure if he changed the play or what have you. But right now, it's 3rd and 10.
You know, Willie Taggart, when he was up at Western Kentucky, he told us last night, he said, hey, I had a lot of guys from the Bay up at Western Kentucky. He said when he was out at Stanford, he looked at USF as a sleeping giant. He said, boy, that would be a great job. Well, now you look at all the players, 96 of 106 players on the roster from the Sunshine State. And look at 48 from the Bay Area. I'm not so sure if that's not 49 according to their notes, but 48, 49, they'll take it either way. And
I mean, you go in and you're getting kids who, I guess if they wanted to go to the University of Florida, Florida State, or maybe even Miami, I mean, you can come here and build something and get it up to that level in years and years to come. And they're going against these teams, too.
And they play Florida State in this stadium this year in a few weeks. 24th of September, this place will be rocking. Third down again. Mihalik, plenty of time this time, and he fires it. This one's picked off. Nigel Harris.
He's out.
Harris still on his feet all the way down to the 5-yard line.
Is Harris all right?
17 picks last year. That's the first in 2016.
You talk about Nigel Harris in coverage, and Mike, you talked about it. It's going to be hard for Darius Victor to go in coverage with one hand, basically, but takes this ball right off of his back. You see Nigel Harris go back to his high school days, turn into a running back. Not necessarily follow behind his blockers, but
let's hope he didn't pull a hamstring here.
Yeah, able to come back, but he's still down. But I had a chance to speak to. It looks like I got a leg cramp. But actually, speaking to Raymond Woody before the game and asking him about Nigel Harris and the role that he's going to play in his defense, just continuing to develop, continuing to get better. He's an every down linebacker. He can play against some of these spread schemes, and he just showed you right there that he can cover, even if he does take the ball off of a receiver's back. But good to see Big 57 up on his feet.
Nice to see a nice round of applause for the young man from right here in Tampa. Mentioned earlier, 6 forced fumbles 2 years ago. #1 in the nation. 3-year starter, that's his first pick. He had 1 last year. This time he returns at 49 yards. But you know, he could smell that end zone, but he couldn't quite get in.
Yeah, I guess he forgot how to be a running back in a sense. He just didn't stay behind his blockers, I think, at that point. But he was smelling that end zone. Can't blame him. Now you just got to get to the sideline to get some Gatorade or Powerade or whatever it is. Got to rehydrate yourself.
And with 1:57 to go, the Bulls punch it in right now. All of a sudden, the Tigers on the road facing a 28-10 deficit, heading for halftime possibly.
Yeah, you called it, Mike. It's real hard for Darius Victor to be in on passing downs because he had to actually basically reach back for that ball. I believe on the cast hand, left hand, but good play by the linebacker, Nigel Harris, to #1, catch the interception, but then 2, take it deep into Towson territory.
Johnson in the backfield. This time Flowers under center.
They're just patiently waiting for the call from Coach Taggart. I think that's the first time we've seen him under center.
Tonight, yeah.
USF takes its second
He told us
timeout
last night he'll be in the gun probably 98, 99%
30-second
of the
timeout.
time, which seems like with these wide open offenses, that's the way it is now. I mean, you rarely see it.
They're being in the gun or at least the pistol formation. Yeah, we'll see what they dial up on this one. And it's okay if you just want to turn around and hand the ball off to Dearness Johnson. Last year he had 1,251 all-purpose yards. He actually threw for 2 touchdowns too, and he was the 2015 co-offensive MVP. So just another one of those running backs who can impact the game and change things up for this offense.
You know, Mike, earlier we talked about the fact that Taggart has improved everywhere he's been as a player and as a coach. You talk about this Gulf Coast offense, where their scoring in the last couple of years has really taken some significant jumps. I mean, it's amazing how they were all the way up to almost 34 points a game last year. And I think a couple of years ago, they were at like 13 points a game.
Yeah, I mean, they were hanging, 60 points on a couple people last year. Cincinnati and Syracuse, they put up 45.
Cecil Cherry is also in that backfield right now, number 33, but Flowers wants to put it up in the air, and he's going to take off, dives for the pylon, and he gets it.
Excellent job by Flowers selling out. If you're the Towson defense, if you know you have a scrambling quarterback, you got to try to at least build the wall to where he can't escape the pocket so easily. But needless to say, great effort by Quentin Flowers. You're going to take away my first and second options, you know, to his right side of the field, but it's going to get away and reach for the pylon. Smell the end zone and know exactly where to go.
Willie Taggart was telling us last night, he says, I know it sounds like a cliche, you hear this all the time, that it seems like he's got eyes in the back of his head.
Yeah.
He said, but I really think that Flowers has eyes in the back of his head because he just feels that pressure. And a case in point right there as he took off.
Yeah, DeAndre Wallace, the linebacker, pretty much had him set up. But if he had just a little bit more help from the right side of his defense, probably could have boxed him in. That's my old teammate right there, Sean King, talking to Quentin Flowers. But again, just cutting the field in half for him, trying to give him two options. DeAndre Wallace gets the pressure. Well, Max Stay Hot, I believe, the defensive lineman, couldn't keep Quentin Flowers in. Just no edge presence on the opposite side.
Well, Big Mike, we've seen a one-play 51-yard drive, and now that's another one play. This time it only covers 5, but it still puts 7 on the board.
Put 7 on board for this team, and still working some kinks out. You can tell it's the first game of the season for both teams because they're making some mistakes. But probably by game 3 or 4, everything's going to run a lot smoother, so this offense probably will go even faster.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of my notes. I said they went from 13.8 to 17.2 to 33.6 on the scoreboard. Wow. That ground game went from 107 yards a game to 247 last year.
Yeah.
So they got this Gulf Coast offense really rocking. 93% of the total yards returning.
98%. I mean, rushing. 93% passing. The big thing, 2015, 5,741 total yards. Unbelievable.
Another short kick. It's going to be taken by Simpson at the 10-yard line. Simpson up over the 25 all the way to the 30, so Simpson's been productive with the returns. We've seen 3 touchdown drives of 2 plays or less here in the first half in the opener.
Yeah, some of those set up too by good field position. The pass to Valdez-Scantling, and then in this situation, Nigel Harris gets him deep down into Towson territory, and you always have to capitalize on those turnovers, getting 7 points, and that's big.
You know what I found interesting too, Taggart was talking yesterday about the fact that these guys are so unselfish. He mentioned the fact that Mack came out of the game one time and said, let someone else score a touchdown. But he said, that being said, we've got 7 different guys on 12 national watch lists. This one's batted at the line of scrimmage. And he said 7 guys on 12 lists. We've never had that. It's uncharted territory.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys handle that.
Yeah, I mean, coming back, basically, you find success when you're winning. You see the defensive lineman again on a short passing drop, able to get those big paws up. Coming right there.
Was that Awalake?
Yep, 93.
Daniel Awalake, a senior out of Lakeland, Florida.
Rushing inside.
This one's going to be complete to Gallahan over the 35 to about the 36. Stays in bounds. Clock runs. 90 seconds to go before halftime. We'll be heading to the ASN studios coming up at the half down in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Like what I was saying, anytime you get some type of success, I mean, some of your better players are going to get recognized. But to have that many players, I wouldn't be surprised if that list continues to grow in the years to come.
Hoggins in coverage. He's looking around thinking there might have been a penalty flag. I probably would have tossed one on him, but no flags down.
Not on the defensive guys. That's a pretty good play. You know, we don't call pass interference on our broadcast, not unless it's just blatantly obvious.
I think he knows deep down that he was kind of hanging on his back there. So now 2 for 12 on third down conversions for the Tigers, setting up a punting situation for Jake Ryder. Ryder's had a 68-yard punt and a 48-yard punt already. There's a line drive, and it's taken at the 32. And
there's Tice.
Tice was thinking about, or Tajay Fullwood actually, thinking about running that one back. Tajay Fullwood actually averaged almost 11 yards a return in punting. That was number 2 in the American last year. There's one of the co-coordinators, T.J. Wiest, one-time head coach at UConn. Alabama wide receiver. There's the Darren Hiller. They're the two co-offensive coordinators in their first year here with Willie Taggart.
They present some different looks, and again, Coach Taggart calls the plays, but I'm pretty sure those co-offensive coordinators, they have a little bit of input on what they're seeing out there too from the defenses as well.
Flowers wants some more.
Oh, good adjustment.
Oh, wow.
It's a good play by both of those guys. I mean, Rodney Adams adjusting his body to go for the catch. Then again, a real good pass breakup too by Towson, number 11. You see Rodney Adams go up and just really jump in front of the DB to make that play, almost come up with the ball. You want to see your wide receivers adjust to some of those shorter passes, but he just showed you why he's on some of those Blitnikoff watch lists.
You know, it's amazing about him, too. He had 822 yards last year, only 45 after the first 4 games. So he really, really exploded in the second half of the season as well. Flowers steps up nicely. Boy, just points out to his blocker. Nice job just telling the Ernest Johnson who to get, where to get him.
The directed traffic on the move. It's a pretty impressive skill set to do.
Moves the chains, another first down. 46 seconds now to go before halftime.
Oh.
And this is going to go down as a sack. Coming in very quickly from the secondary was Malik Tyne, a freshman from Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, at that point, the defense coordinator, Matt Hackman, said, I got to make something happen. I'm going to send more guys that they can block up front, and they were able to get Flowers on the ground.
Flowers sacked 21 times last year. That's the first time sacked here in the opener. Flowers just over the outstretched hands of Ryshean Bronson, the junior out of Fort Myers.
It's one of those things where we're talking about the accuracy. Flowers, I mean, these balls are sailing out of his hands. He has the arm strength. Now he just needs to basically couple it with some accuracy and some touch. Because whenever he overshoots his wide receivers, either he overshoots them or he underthrows the ball. So he's got to find that happy medium.
Third down at the 39-yard line, 14 seconds to go. Johnson trying to move that pile up close to the 50, gets over the 45 to about the 47. And that's going to do it. The clock's going to run out. We've played 30 minutes. Halfway through the opener, it's 28-10. Your thoughts?
I mean, I'm impressed, number one, with the Gulf Coast offense and what they've been able to do to put up 28 points. But I like the fight from Towson. They're making some big plays down the field and doing some things defensively to stay in this game.
Some quick strikes by the Bulls, though. 28-10. Bulls take the 28-10 lead into the locker room. And right now, we're going to send you after the other side to the ASN studios.
Welcome into the ASN Halftime Report. I'm Monica McNutt alongside Doug Chapman. Now, Doug, when you were playing, how important was it spending time with your teammates away from the game?
I think it's very important. You show me a team that isn't close off the field, and I'll show you a team that's not winning many games. I played in a lot of championship teams in college, Monica, and the common theme we had is that we were all very, very close. We still talk to this day. Actually, a handful of my teammates, I am the godfather of their children. We're that close. We talk weekly. We try to see each other during the year. But it's that chemistry on and off the field. That's how you win games.
Indeed it is. Now, Towson senior linebacker Malik Jackson and Coach Ambrose talk about the time that their team has spent together that has helped them improve.
We've been really spending a lot of time together. I think that's going to help with chemistry and we've been spending time watching film together and getting to know our opponent better and just doing the little things because at the end of the day, the little things, that's what's going to elevate our game and as a defense and as a whole.
We have a habit around here of taking good things and making them better, making better things and making them great. We are always in the way of building. This is a heck of a time to be a Tiger. We're about the best 5-year stint in Division I history at our school for winning. Doesn't matter if it's football, basketball, lacrosse, it doesn't matter. There's no better time to be a Tiger. There's no better time to be a Towson alum.
Good stuff there from Coach Ambrose, huh?
Absolutely.
Oh, what a time to be a Tiger. Yes, it must be exciting. All right, so then in being a Tiger, how much does the legacy of winning affect the players during the season?
You know, Monica, when you get into a program that has tradition, you feel it's your duty to uphold that. So when you go about your business in a manner to ensure success, you like to live that lifestyle because you saw players that were older. You got there, you were a freshman. You saw seniors that taught you how to win. It's pressure, but it's a good pressure. I liked walking through the hallways at Marshall University and seeing the trophies and seeing the national championship banners and seeing the conference championship banners and the guys that went on to the NFL. I liked having that pressure because I didn't want to be part of the class to be the letdown year.
All right, certainly understand that. And let's just take a look at what the Towson Tigers are doing. It goes back to 2011. You can follow the board all the way up to 2015. They're having quite the great run, like Coach said, a great 5 years. But I do want to ask you, Doug, so I came to Towson in 2012. Say in 2014 we weren't so happy with the way things worked. How do you bounce back when you hit a little bit of adversity with all that pressure?
That's when a coach leans on his seniors, his juniors, upperclassmen, the guys that have been in the program for years, and your captains, guys that are your leaders in the locker room and on the field. That's for those guys that said, you know what, man, my freshman, sophomore year, we did the thing. My junior year, we slipped, we fell off a little bit. Let's get this thing going back in the right direction, because when you have a winning tradition there, you're instilled in your players, and those are the guys that can turn your team back around.
Indeed. It's all about the tradition and what's been established. All right, well, speaking of what's been established, Cade Harrington has established himself as a super-duper threat at a running back position. We're going to hear from him on the other side of the break.
We're a team. We're one unit, a bunch of brothers. I think that we'll be able to spread the ball around and really take advantage of all of our weapons on offense. First game of the year, got to work on myself and getting better and being the best team player I can be for the Lamar Cardinals to win a championship and win all the games that we can, and then just kind of let everything else fall into place.
All right, that was Cade Harrington. Now, Doug, Central Arkansas will face Lamar and Mr. Harrington in October. The very next weekend, Houston Baptist gets him. What do these teams need to do to slow down this guy? You're talking about a 2,000-yard rusher.
Defensive coordinators don't sleep well the night before you have to play Lamar, and you're facing a back like Cade Harrington. Because what he does so well is a smaller back. He gets behind his linemen. Your defensive front has to be very, very disciplined in their run fits. You can't be over-aggressive. And on the zone play, with his size, you got to find him. He gets lost behind those big offensive linemen, and before you know it, he's on your toes making a cut, and he gets vertical, and he has the speed. Once he's in your secondary, you see it there, not only just to take it the distance, but can break tackles, run through arm tackles. And they do a lot with him. You see him lined up at the slot. You see him flanked off of one of the tight ends or tackles. You'll even see him at the quarterback taking some snaps from shotgun. And I tell you, find number 8. You're not going to stop him. You got to contain him. Contain the chunk plays. Don't let him get the big 10, 15, 20-yarders. Be happy when he gets 3 to 5. Deal with it. Let him have a 95-yard day versus a 295-yard day, because you know he can go for 200, 300 whenever he wants to.
Indeed, indeed. You got to do the best you can to slow that guy down. All right, we want you to make sure you check us out. The conversation continues on all of these various platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Live on ASN. You can be sure to hear from some of your favorite players as they field the questions, just like you saw Cade do, on how they'll overcome the challenges and be crowned champions, hopefully later on in the season. Make sure you check it all out on at Live on ASN. And then we've got you covered all season long, right here, right, Doug?
We got them.
Especially, in particular, the group of 5 conferences, like the American Conference, Conference USA, the MAC, the Sun Belt, and the Mountain West. And of course, we will be talking about the hottest topics in the Power 5 conferences as well. And Doug, if for folks that may not know about the Power 5, or excuse me, the Group of 5, they should definitely be watching these games.
They better be watching them games, especially them Week 1 games. Talk about Boise, could get upset. Also, Oklahoma, Houston. That is a huge game. A lot of national attention on that one there.
Oh, man, and we'll have all the attention on it as well here. But that is not all. You can also send us your pictures of your team spirit using the hashtag BackTalkContest. We will pick an FBS and FCS winner who will receive some of our fantastic ASN swag. Doug and I have it. We love it.
A signed picture of Monica McNutt.
Man, all those good things right here on ASN. So make sure you keep it locked all season long. We locked in on the Group of 5, and of course, we'll be talking about the national football picture as well.
Yes, we will.
Indeed. All right, that's going to do it for us. We're going to get you back out to the second half of the game. Enjoy.
And back in Raymond James Stadium, halftime here, there's the score. 28-10 in the opener here in 2016. The Bulls on top of the Tigers of Towson. Mike Young, Mike Gleason, and Mike, you know, the thing that really stands out, of course, is the offense, but that the Bull defense right now, Darius Victor, the running back for Towson, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He's averaging 1.6 yards a carry, but offensively, that's the the story here because they've had 2 one-play scoring drives.
2-play, 1-scoring drives really set up by the defense, getting some turnovers, and then, you know, the USF offense capitalizing off those turnovers. And Quentin Flowers, he's doing such a tremendous job of just showing command of the offense. These become a little bit more accurate, but here they're just trying to set them up with a high percentage pass, a short pass to, you know, Darius Tyson above a screen. Darius just does the rest on a run after the catch, kind of settling this offense down, getting these guys going with an early touchdown. He would just come back to some of his basically play extension ability. Everything collapses around him in the pocket. Receivers are covered down the field, but no problem for Flowers. He can still scramble himself for a first down. You see him here on the read option play to where he can be elusive just on some inside running plays. And then again, too, just going to take a shot to show off this big arm that he had on a 51-yard touchdown pass to Valdez-Scantling, where he was really accurate on that pass and really catapulted this team to some more scoring drives. And then again, too, you see the celebration being pumped up, bowing down, showing the hip flexibility. And then this is, I believe, right before the end of the half. Scoring, again, the pocket collapses around him, finds the end zones. He just dives right at the pylon and rushing touchdown and also passing touchdown.
Well, we mentioned the last 4 games of the regular season last year. They averaged about 542 yards. They're almost there, halfway there anyway, 255 in the first half.
Yeah, 3 of 7 on third downs, but just those quick play strikes you talked about, 2 turnovers, but I'm pretty sure some things they can fix. But look at the balance, though, from South Florida. Rushing yards, 104, passing yards, 151. So, yes, they are at that halfway mark. And at Towson, I mean, their bread and butter is rushing the football. Only 30 yards right now. They still have to find a way to manufacture some more yards in a running game.
Last year, Marlon Mack averaged 6.6 yards a carry in the first half. He had 6.4, but he was dinged up. When we come back, we'll have an update. Mike Lefko will tell us the status of Marlon Mack on the other side. Back inside Raymond James Stadium, 28-10. The Bulls all set to open up the second half. Marlon Mack came into this game with 5 straight 100-yard games. It doesn't look like he's going to get number 6. So let's check in right now with an update with Mike.
Now, Marlon Mack has been declared out for the game. The USF communications staff said an upper body injury. He hasn't come back out in the locker room, will not return to this game. So that 3-headed monster running back becomes a 2-headed monster. Darius Tice and Ernest Johnson will get the carries the rest of the way in this one.
You know, Mike, it's a shame, too, because obviously they're not about numbers. Mack, very unselfish.
Yeah.
But when you got a streak like 5 straight 100, I think the entire team would like to see that extend to 6.
Yeah, you want to continue it going. I mean, he was well on his way because I believe he finished the night, I believe, with 50-something rushing yards, or 58 rushing yards. So just going back to the injury, I mean, DeAndre Wallace, the linebacker for Towson, just caught him right on the button in a sense. And if they went with an upper body injury, it looked like he might have just had a stinger in that aspect, being able to draw that ball away loose. With Ernest Johnson, he's going to get his chance to get some carries tonight. Also, too, with the mix of Darius Tice. But first, we'll see Towson back on offense because they did defer in the first half.
And the second half is underway. This is going to be Simpson again, this time at the 4-yard line. Simpson finds a lane, gets up over the 25 all the way to the 30. So Simpson actually playing some pretty good football on those returns so far tonight.
Yeah, get his team some good field position. It's something he's been able to do all night. So I would say he's probably close to averaging maybe 25 yards a return, roughly.
That one went 26, so you're right.
Yeah.
You're right on the money there, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically eating up ground pretty quick, reading his blockers, setting up the blocks too as well. So field position is going to be big, not only for this game, but just going further down the line once they get into CAA play.
Tigers open up in the I formation again. Play action, down 28-10. They got to generate some offense. The big fullback picks up a first down on the first play, Emmanuel Holder, and he's ridden down by Nico Sautel.
Nico Sautel gets some playing time. Nigel Harris is out. Normally he would be out in the flat, but look at the big man move. Emmanuel Holder showing some soft hands out of the backfield. I mean, he's probably one of those utility players at the next level. An H-back can line up attached to the line of scrimmage, line up in the backfield. Shows a lot of versatility thus far. That's why he's an All-American.
266, he moves pretty well, too, as does this man. As Victor, there's a penalty flag dropped at about the 36, but Victor hurdled over somebody and almost picked up a first down after just rushing for 1.6 yards a carry in the first half.
I believe
Holding
Emmanuel.
number 49 of the offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Just as we were saying that Emmanuel Holder's a All-American, just negated that run with a holding penalty.
Well, his last name is Holder, right? So
yeah, you got it. You got a bull down too at the same time.
Hoggins, the cornerback. Young man had 28 picks in high school, 4 returned for touchdowns.
Wow.
Oh, hate to see that young man limping off, but again, maybe it's another cramp.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty toasty at the beginning of the game, being down on the field in the pregame. I mean, I love coming to Florida, but that sun just jumps on you quick, especially on the field.
Well, as you pointed out, this is the Tigers' first trip ever down to the Sunshine State. And when we got to the stadium earlier this afternoon, it was pretty warm down there.
Pretty warm. He said my phone read 82 degrees, but it was way hotter than 82 degrees, at least more humid. But
ready to go.
I would say Towson, they've done a pretty good job adjusting to the heat because it's not easy.
1st and 20. They go through the air. And this one's complete to Vallely, the tight end.
You know, Holland's been looking for Vallely a lot tonight. I believe that's maybe his second time he's been able to connect with them on a drag right over the middle.
Son number 18 there, Jamin Thomas. You called his number a few times in the first half. He had 5 tackles. Led all tacklers in the first half, so he's been very active.
Yeah, he's played that role position. Comes down into the box. They play a little bit of 2 deep, 4 deep, but using his size and length to kind of get in there and fill up some of those running lanes.
This one's batted at the line of scrimmage again, this time Kirk Livingstone. Another redshirt freshman from Fort Lauderdale, so another one of those young ball players here for the Bulls.
Yeah, speaking of Raymond Woody, I mean, he's high going to the left of your screen. You see 94, just stopped his rush, got those long arms up there. Really can't get to the quarterback, just put your arms up. Again, almost freelancing on that rush, but a smile came on Raymond Woody's face when you talk about the redshirt freshman, Livingstone.
6'4", 256. He looked like Jason Pierre-Paul that time.
Yeah,
like the ball down.
It's a good rushes here. Also, too, George Selvey came out of this program.
Yeah, he was an All-American before Jason Pierre-Paul was. 2 for 12 on 3rd down. They go over the middle. It's incomplete. Summers, the intended receiver. And again, good coverage by that secondary.
Jamin Thomas, again, just showing some of his versatility from that strong safety or what they call the rover position to where you may see him down in the box. But just watch him at the right of your screen. Just read the quarterback's intentions, maybe a little bit early, but I don't call pass interference plays. Knock that ball away.
No, I thought he did a great job that time. Getting his hand in there. Tajay Fullwood and Dearness Johnson, the deep men. Ryder averaged 48 in the first half, punting the football. It's taken at the 12-yard line. A little dance up to the 22. For number 2, that's Johnson. When we come back, the Bulls with the lead 28-10 and the football. 13:26 to go. Quarter number 3 for the 2016 opener. Bulls with the football at the 21-yard line, 28-10. ASN brings you hard-hitting NCAA football every Saturday beginning at noon Eastern Time. Join us next week. First up, BC against UMass. That'll be followed by North Dakota in Bowling Green up in Ohio at 3:30. Then later, South Alabama hosts Georgia Southern right here on ASN. Michael Young, Mike Gleason, Mike Lefko. Great to have you with us here on ASN for college football as the Bulls try to pick up where they left off in 2015. Willie Taggart was saying that if they get big heads, which they won't, but if they did, he'd just stick in the film of the bowl game.
There you go.
There's a run right up the middle, and it's going to be Tice. He's already scored a touchdown, and a pass reception gets all the way up close to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, always show the film to kind of keep those guys grounded and reminded. And again, you just see the running ability of Tice. Good wham block by number 85, Dillon, creating that seam for Tice to get into the open field and just make plays and do what he does. I thought it was interesting that he changed his number to 13 instead. He's Friday the 13th. It's a punishing runner. Showed some finesse early on that bubble screen, but then again, you just kind of saw his capabilities just running the ball downhill and getting to the open field.
See those guns he's got there. 5'10", 211, good size.
The ball, biceps get any bigger, he won't be able to hold the ball.
Here he is again, 3 straight plays for Tice. And he moves into Tiger territory at the 48-yard line. What were you saying about Friday the 13th? What?
Well, he changed his number from last year.
Yeah.
And he changed it in camp to 13 because he said he wants to be a nightmare, I guess, for opposing defenses. So it'll be Friday the 13th.
That's what I thought you said.
Yeah.
Well, he's been a nightmare so far in the short amount of time that he's played. He's been productive. There's going to be a penalty. No penalty flag dropped on that.
Yeah, Pettis Dixon was a little bit early on that one, I have to admit. But he's made a couple of big plays tonight. He got the interception early on in the first half. And remember, he's just a redshirt freshman, so he's basically getting thrust into the action a little bit early. He was able to knock that ball away from Rodney Adams.
Wow. I'd like to see that play again, though.
Yeah, he was early on that one. Even I have to admit that. Yeah, he was way early.
You don't like to admit that, huh?
No.
Defenders are guilty of the infraction.
I'm always a defensive guy, but I learned the game to accept some of the offensive tendencies.
Johnson gets the call. Taggart calls him his junkyard dog. Does it all. He said if this was basketball, he'd be that gym rat.
Yeah. You can see DeAndre Wallace, 56, closing down some of those rushing lanes for Dearness Johnson and also to Darius Tice. Again, you got to be excited. I mean, he's just a sophomore, DeAndre Wallace. So you got a good tandem of young linebackers. Him and Chris Tedder going to be around and making havoc in the CAA.
Adams on third down. Adams moves the chains inside the 30-yard line. Rodney Adams certainly has picked up where he left off last year. It's amazing. I know I mentioned this before.
Sure.
We talk about 822 yards on the year. They've never had a 1,000-yard receiver. He only had 45 yards in the first 4 games.
Yeah. You got to kind of wonder where he was or what happened to where he wasn't quite with it. This some of his running ability right here. You got to find a way to get the ball in your playmaker's hands.
Mitchell Wilcox. Taggart said the tight end is a big part of this offense. He had a chance for 6 there, couldn't hold on.
Yeah, pretty good defensive coverage too on a linebacker. I believe that was Tedder on the coverage on the old wheel route. Not really turning around looking for the ball, but just kind of keeping his head forward. So it was 21 Jordan Floyd on that coverage.
Ball at the 27-yard line, second down. Bulls, first possession of the second half, moving towards that red zone again. Stacked receivers, top of your screen. They give it to Johnson, who last year averaged about 4.3 yards per carry, but 26 receptions, incidentally. He was second best on the team last year, behind Rodney Adams.
Yeah, no drop off in production. Whichever running back you want to put in with either Darius Tice or Dearness Johnson, because they can, I mean, the playbook doesn't really change. Even though their running styles are different, I mean, you look at Dearness Johnson, to me, he looks more like a slasher. You know, Marlon Mack, one cut downhill, and then Tice, the power back, but they still keep it in between the tackles.
And they keep it on the ground for Adams again, and he's wrestled out of bounds finally by Jordan Floyd. And Floyd might have saved the touchdown. Gain of 13 more for Adams.
Rodney Adams on a fly sweep. He's going to motion in, take the ball, and just follow behind his blocker, Dearness Johnson. And again, Taggart just showing ways to keep his wide receiver in the game. Even though hasn't made too many catches downfield just yet, he's at least given us some touches in the run game.
Flowers this time fakes it to Adams, takes it inside the 5-yard line, and the Bulls knocking on the door again.
Good read by Flowers too. Read the end man on the line of scrimmage. Normally when you have that read option play, you designate a player you want to leave unblocked, and that's the person you want to attack. Sometimes it could be the middle linebacker, or in that case, the end man on the line of scrimmage.
Ring it up. Another touchdown there for Adams. Why not? Why not give it to him on the fly sweep? That's the bread and butter play on this drive.
Yeah. It just glorified run plays. Sets up his blockers pretty well. Gets a head start going in motion. Gets some good blocks by Mitchell Wilcox, Dearness Johnson. He just walks right into the end zone. Good blocking two up front by the offensive line as well.
Yeah, the offensive line last year had all 13 games had the same 5 players. That's not the case this year.
Yeah.
They were doing some shuffling in camp. As Nadelman remains perfect in 2016 with the PATs. And the Bulls push the lead to 35-10.
You see Adams on a fly sweep again, just cruising around the corner, unimpeded into the end zone for another Bulls touchdown.
Rodney Adams finds the touchdown, another touchdown for the Bulls, 35-10. And the Bulls are on the roll, picking up where they left off. And here's what's coming up for USF. Home next week against Northern Illinois. They head for the Dome against Syracuse, the big game, Florida State.
Yeah.
And they open up conference play at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's usually pretty tough up there in Nippert Stadium.
I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 of those teams are bowl teams. I'm not sure about Syracuse, but I know Cincinnati went to a bowl. NIU did. Florida State obviously in Cincinnati. So tough sled ahead. I mean, starting out next week, you know, with Northern Illinois. I mean, they play pretty good football up in DeKalb. So I'm pretty sure when they come down here, they won't be intimidated about the speed. They try to slow the game down and basically try to gut them as much as they can with the run game.
There's Simpson. Simpson's had a good evening so far, returning the kick. This time Simpson takes it at the goal line. And as Simpson weaves his way through traffic over the 25, 30. Simpson.
He's out.
Simpson all the way down to the 35-yard line of South Florida. So Shane Simpson, a redshirt freshman out of Easton, PA, having a big, big night.
Yeah, they're just setting up basically a right return. You can just see him follow behind his blockers to set guys up and just weave his way through traffic, gets down into the open field and crosses over the 50. And you can find a lot about your team in situations like this and even uncover some gems. So, I mean, it looks right now that Shane Simpson's going to be the primary kick returner, you know, for the Towson Tigers.
As he should be. That one went 61 yards. Here's Victor finally getting some running room as he rumbles down inside the 35-yard line. So Darius Victor, keep in mind that back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, 13 100-yard games. Mack, of course, for USF, as we mentioned, came in with 5 straight 100-yard games, but he's dinged up and will not return to the ball game.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, the message to your team, if you're Coach Ambrose, just continue to compete because we have to still practice our offense. We run a lot of counters, a lot of powers for runs just like this for Darius Victor, you know, pushing the ball and pressing it downhill.
Vincent Jackson makes the stop. Well, Michael, this game is far from being over. You know that Towson, there's no quit in this football team with Rob Ambrose. We talk about how tough the CAA is. But obviously, they're still at the end of the day, this is a money game for them as they open up the season coming down here. And but Ambrose was saying that this team is very, very close. This one's going to be complete to Dessenberg. Still on his feet inside the 15. He's swarmed under. But the reason I bring that up, he said back in 2011, 2012, and 13, the teams were very close. In 2014, some of the players felt like they were born on third base. You know, not too much responsibility, accountability. He said, but as a matter of fact, the first week of camp in his 25 years of coaching, he said his first week of camp was the most fun he's had in 25 years. So whether they win or lose this football game, there's a lot of football to be played. And, of course, their main goal is the CAA.
And I think that experience last year, missing, I mean, they were the last 2 teams to not get a playoff berth, even though they finished 7-4. And you would think with that record, especially in the CAA, that's almost an automatic bid to the playoffs, and it didn't happen. So I think these guys were humbled a little bit to come out a little bit more hungrier because they want to get back to the playoffs and at least do better than that 2013 FCS championship team.
New Hampshire at 7-4 last year as well. They got in 12 straight years, I think now the Wildcats have been in the playoffs. That's the national record. Here's Victor inside the 10 down to about the 7-yard line.
Yeah, continuing to practice his offense. I did a game a couple of years ago, actually 2 of them. And the offensive line coach, John Donatelli, had a lot of moving and mixing and matching because the offensive line was so banged up. So now that he got a lot of guys at full strength, 5 returning starters, and at least 9 offensive linemen who've had playing experience in the past, I mean, that shows a lot of good depth for this team.
Nice run by Victor. And Victor gets into the end zone for the second time tonight.
Shows some good vision, cut back. Some good blocks up front. Yeah, just more nothing than a zone block. Good block by 72, Antonio Harris. Really paving the way for Darius Victor to get into the end zone. as you mentioned before, Mike, no quitting this team. Not going to necessarily pass themselves back into the game, but they still want to at least try to pound the ball. Just do what they do.
Aiden O'Neal, young freshman, drills it down the middle of the freeway as Darius Victor picks up his 36th career touchdown.
Yeah, just setting up basically a zone run. Darius Victor displaying some vision, getting his way into the end zone with the cast and all, but still finds a way to score a touchdown.
Well, Michael, at the top of the broadcast, we said the Tigers would have to lean on their running game, and number 7 there, Darius Victor, and he's been in the end zone twice already tonight.
Been in the end zone, I mean, running over players into the end zone, but this was just more of a zone run play. You just see the vision right there for him to be able to cut back against the grain across the formation and walk his way into the end zone. And you just kind of see where he stacks up against.
Goes over 3,000.
Yeah, gets over 3,000, and I'm pretty sure it's a safe bet that he'll pass Tony Vincent maybe in this game, but still has a ways to go to get to Terrence West.
Well, I don't think he's going to catch Mr. West with 4,849, but I think he will catch Mr. Corley there.
Yeah.
And wind up number 2, which nothing to be ashamed about. Number 2 all-time leading rusher with over 3,000 yards.
Nothing to be ashamed of, especially if he gets 1,000 yards this year. That'll be 3 straight seasons. So he'll be up there again with Terrence West as the only 2 running backs in Towson history to rush for 1,000 yards for 3 straight seasons.
How about that kick? A line drive kick off of one of the USF players, and it goes out of bounds. So the Bulls are going to have good field position and not even a chance to run it back that time. And Adams, I'm sure, would have loved.
There is no foul
Ambrose
on the
talking
play.
about that kicking
Out
game.
of bounds.
Kind of grin
Hit by the
on his face.
Yeah, I'm thinking, was that maybe a surprise onside kick maybe, or maybe try to pooch it in the corner, catch him napping?
Well, he kicked it hard. If it was, you'd really have to perfect that play.
So just mishit it then. It happens.
I understand what you're saying, but boy, he really really lined it off the player.
Huh. You always have to expect the unexpected in first games. And that was a first for me to see that drive kick.
Quentin Flowers, the junior out of Miami, still in the ball game. Working out of the gun with that 35-17 lead now. And the ball carrier is Tice. Wrestled down just over the line of scrimmage, a short gain.
It's a good job by Anderson. Being a wrap tackler. Actually taking Tice's legs from out from underneath him to where he can't necessarily drag him forward.
You know, we're talking about the CAA and Richmond and James Madison, William and Mary. Keep an eye on Maine, the Black Bears. Boy, they really look like a different football team against UConn Thursday night. Flowers wide open in the middle, inside the 40-yard line. And that's complete to Dillon.
Dillon, on the Mackey Award watch list. You talk about all the different accolades, and he's one of the tight ends that can actually make a difference in this offense. Just going to the right of your screen, you're going to see number 85 just working his way up back to the middle of the field on a skinny post.
Goes 27. He averaged 23 a catch last year. And this one is just overshooting Raheem Bronson, but a penalty flag is dropped.
Now that time, it didn't necessarily look like a penalty flag. It just seemed 2 players just battling for the ball. And again, Pettis Dixon, the redshirt freshman, making some big plays on the back end. I mean, he actually went up and challenged Raheem Bronson on that play.
And we mentioned earlier Troy Jeter, the only senior in that secondary. They're young and talented. Even if they lose this football game, this is great experience for Pettis Dixon.
Definitely is. I mean, making plays, too, against this caliber of wide receiving core. I mean, these guys are long. They're 6'3".
Pass interference. Number 17 to the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
They're long, they're fast, but they're hanging right with them. I'm with Coach Ambrose again on that one. I think if you're going up and competing for the ball, maybe disrupted him a little bit too early off the line of scrimmage, because going up for the ball, battling, trying to high point it at that point, to me it looked just like a pass breakup. But I guess if you go in the series before when he was early and broke up that pass, yeah, that was pass interference. So I guess the referee owed him one.
I agree with you. As far as the play, I'm not sure if I agree with you on the Odom one, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, you're probably right there too.
Uh-oh.
Little pump fake, and Flowers is going to take off, gets a nice block. Wow, really nice block.
Even when you got this kid, I mean, right bar had him right where he wanted him to. But they teach you as a defender not to leave your feet. And you can see 22 barreling down, just went up for the pump fake. And as soon as he left his feet, Quentin Flowers is right out the gate again.
How about Tice delivering that blow on a big defensive lineman?
I'm pretty sure they are used to turning and running and finding anybody that they can block because Flowers runs so much. He's just so unpredictable with the ball in his hands.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the head coach of Towson. It's his first unsportsmanlike foul. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Still talking about that Pettis Dixon. You just can't let it go.
Well, sometimes you got to go fight for your team.
I understand.
Although 35-17 with the 5:53 to go in the third quarter, this is going to move the Bulls that much closer to the goal line.
Right.
So I'm sure he'd like to take that one back, although I understand his frustration.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure that, we'll go back and look at it and apologize to the team, but I understand how it is being in the heat of the moment, especially when you feel like that was not the correct call.
Flowers, pump fake, and this time he escapes somehow and finds the end zone. I was just about to say this time he's wrapped up.
Yeah, I mean, again, you look at what he's able to do. They're trying to cut the field in half for him, give him some easy reads, working the first and the second level. If those two reads are covered up, he has the option to go ahead and run. Because I don't think he's going to come across and try to find his third option. And by that time, he really didn't have time to because of the pressure in his face from Towson's defense. But again, it just makes it that much more difficult for a defense to account for a quarterback who can hurt you in the run game as well as the passing game.
Kenai Anderson thought he had him. I guess Flowers' quickness caught Anderson by surprise as he scampers 7 yards for the touchdown. 34 team and individual records set last year, 5,700 yards. On a roll right now, 42-17.
Yeah, just coming back to the play again, to this touchdown. Almost looked like the last one before the half. Knew he was going to get out. He just broke through the tackle of Anderson. Showed a little bit of strength, breaking the defensive tackle's tackle attempt. He was able to find his way to get out. But again, you know what? He looked to the right, didn't see what he liked. His third option is just to take off and get what you can, and was able to run through a defensive lineman's tackling attempt on the way to his second rushing touchdown of the night.
66 yards in 4 plays. Quentin Flowers accounting for 34 touchdowns last year. 12 on the ground, gets a couple, as Michael said, on the ground here with a couple of scoring strikes as well.
Yeah.
So he's off to a good 2016.
2 touchdown passes, 2 rushing passes.
Yep.
He's doing good. Still want to see him just develop a little bit more touch. I mean, there were some throws he missed and may miss them all year long, but if you're going against the likes of Houston and Cincinnati, I mean, those guys could probably make you pay for it in the long run. So those are things he can kind of correct. I'm pretty sure my former teammate, the Arizona quarterback Sean King, can help him out with that. Just kind of settling him down and just to kind of set his feet and come to balance, because it's hard to make some of those accurate throws when your feet aren't set back in the pocket.
There's Simpson. He returned the last one 61 yards. Speaking of your buddy Sean King, he had a contest here on the field last night trying to hit the crossbar from 40. He hit it, and I understand that he let everybody know that he still has the touch.
Yeah, he will let you know. He's not shy or bashful. I mean, he had a good playing career, too. I mean, not only for the Buccaneers, but if you go back to his Tulane days, I believe he led the Green Wave to an undefeated season.
He's the first rookie quarterback to lead his team to the playoffs. I know that.
Yep. I believe they came up short against the Rams, the 99 year.
I believe you're right, but I know it was his rookie year that he led them to the playoffs.
Yeah, I just got to have the chance to speak with him before the game, and he said he really enjoys coaching. He did the media thing for a little while and actually did a Bill Walsh minority coaching internship with the Steelers. And Mike Tomlin highly recommended him to Coach Taggart and put him on the staff as quarterback coach.
Yeah, he said he saw Ben Roethlisberger actually going to all the positions.
Yeah.
And he quizzed the players saying, what is this play, and what do you do on this play, and why do you do this play? And he said he's going to implement that with the Bulls once he gets more involved in the coaching.
That's how you have to do it. Everybody has to be on the same page.
So the Bulls now rushing for 200 yards tonight. So far, and still 5:26 to go in quarter number 3. Mahalik under center. Victor picks up maybe 2, possibly 3. Sanchez with 117 tackles last year in, along with Mike Love.
Mike Love, another one of those guys. When you look at some of these defensive linemen, especially before the game even started, even some of the wide receivers, I mean, they could easily be on the Orlando Magic, Miami Heat, with the height that they have.
Workhorse. Victor gets up over the 35. Has to get to the 38 for the first down.
Yeah, still finding a way to grind some tough yards, falling forward, good contact power. Nigel Harris has made a return. Got that earlier interception. It's all over the field tonight, for the most part.
Third and 2. Give it to the big guy. And it's going to be close depending on the spot. I don't think he got it from this advantage.
He was stopped basically a little bit after the line of scrimmage, but he was cut down. Good play.
So why not another 4th down? Huh? They've already gone for it 4 different times.
Yeah. If you go for it here, you know what you're at risk for. Put that offense on the short field.
3 for 4. Mahalik, I don't think he's going to get it. It's going to be interesting where they spot it. They were 3 for 4, and Mahalik on quarterback sneaks.
Yeah, from where
picked up 2 of them.
Yeah, from where we are right now, I mean, he looks short.
Okay.
Well, actually, he got it.
Yeah, we're closer to the 50-yard line, so obviously their vantage point probably a little bit better than ours, since they're wearing the striped shirts and the whistles are better be, right?
Actually end up going forward. I mean, showing some guts. Like I said, on the road, first trip to Florida. I mean, I've seen enough from this team to where I can't imagine why they won't be able to make the playoffs this year. Speaking of Towson. The play.
Gallahan's complete, just shy of the 45. Well, maybe the fact that there were 4 teams in and politics got involved and they were the odd man out. It's hard to figure out, but the CAA, when you're putting 4 teams from one conference, I know they try to keep other people happy, I'm sure, from around the country.
But you have to go about the strength of schedule, I think, at that point. You know?
Yeah, I understand, but we live in a real world.
Yeah.
Just like Houston. I mean, if Houston doesn't run the table, they're not going to get a shot at the national championship.
Right. Pollock there, just quarterback design run, just showing some of his athletic ability.
So Rob Ambrose, here's what he has coming up next week. St. Francis. Then they hit the road, a couple of tough ones. Villanova and at Richmond. Richmond winning today over Virginia. Nova was playing Pittsburgh tonight. Stony Brook at Delaware, and then Elon at home November 5th.
Got a variety of different offenses right there, just looking at their schedule. Villanova's a spread team, but then if you look at Stony Brook, I mean, they like to run the ball with their star running back, Liddell Betts.
Boy, nobody fooled at all by the Bulls, huh? On that play, Johnny Ward, a senior out of Georgia, came up really strong.
Sorry, Stony Brook's running back is Stacy Liddell, not Liddell Betts. I'm thinking of Liddell Betts back in Washington Redskins days.
The Iowa Hawkeyes, Liddell Betts.
He was, yeah. Kansas City kid.
Second down out of the I formation. Play action. Here comes the rush, and that is a loose football. The scoop in the run.
What a play by Dixon.
Nate Godwin, the active leader in career tackles, comes up with a big fumble recovery.
Coming from that striker position. Watch number 34, Malik Dixon, just come off the edge from the left of your screen. The tight end saw him late. Not only went in for the sack, but he went in for the strip. Basically, he was able to set up a scoop and score. Again, you're going to see 34 just flash right by you. The tight end picked him up late. Valley was able to knock that ball away into Nate Godwin's hands and falls forward with some more positive yards.
Dixon, guess what? Another redshirt freshman.
Yeah.
Look at those arms, how long they were, huh?
Yeah, I mean, 6'3", too, yeah.
6'3", 207, long arms, athletic. Out of Port Charlotte, Florida.
Yeah, the cupboard is not bare, and that's not good news for the AAC. Got a different quarterback in the game now.
The backup out of Ohio. First pass, touchdown for Brett Keane. out of St. Edwards.
Ernest Johnson, but again, Mike, we talked about it earlier. Anytime you get a defensive turnover, you want to attack the end zone right away. And you know what? Brett King came in and saw Ernest Johnson just running right up the middle of the seam. And boy, that you got a cramp right at the end.
That's the third player we've seen cramp up, but boy, talk about breaking in, huh, Keene?
Yeah, Ernest Johnson just came out of the backfield and stayed right on the hash marks, out of the seam. You're going to see number 2 actually just run past Jordan Minette. Not sure if they had man-to-man coverage or not, but either way, he was able to break through that zone, read some coverages on a run, and Keene just showing off the arm strength a little bit, firing that ball in there.
23 yards.
Yeah.
Not a way to start, huh?
That's what, 21 points off turnovers now?
21 points off of turnovers. Keene threw 32 touchdowns and rushed for 11 his senior year at St. Edwards.
And he's a freshman.
He had 2 second-half touchdowns in the state championship up in the Buckeye State, and he certainly looked poised and not nervous on that first.
Oh, like he's been there before.
So Flowers goes 8 for 18 with 178, 2 touchdowns, 9 rushes for 46 and 2. So it looks like he's going to be done for the day. Edelman is perfect on the PATs, and all of a sudden we're looking at a 49-17 ball game.
King coming in, and again, they're just cutting the field in half, but he zeroed right in on Ernest Johnson, and we were seeing his way to the end zone.
You know, Flowers, we mentioned 46 yards on 9 rushes. He probably would have had a lot more, but 2 of his touchdown runs, one was 7, one was 5.
Yeah. But I still like the aggressiveness. Coach Taggart, you get a turnover on defense, no matter where you are on the field, take a shot towards the end zone. It just happens to help when you're already close to the red zone, or if you're at least in the opponent's territory. Really press the issue, put some pressure on the defense. Snyder, Coach Taggart. Well, a lot of good things down here in the Bay. Dream job, wanted this job. And I thought what was an interesting thing is Tony Dungy interviewed him. And he looked up to Tony Dungy, and when Coach Dungy came in the office, he stood right up, and you know what, Tony Dungy said, hey, you know what, he's the right guy for this job because he reminds me of me, nothing flashy, but he's a good recruiter, good offensive mind, and he respected his work, you know, what he was able to do working under Jim Harbaugh and how he built up Western Kentucky.
It was a pleasure to talk to as Simpson takes it up over the 20 again. Still on his feet closer to the 25-yard line. Taggart was a pleasure to talk to last night. Very down to earth, very grounded. And he said he had no idea they were going to set 34 records last year, but he said we knew we could score some points.
Yeah.
We've got some talent, and there's some young talent. Even Johnson, who scored that last touchdown, he's back next year too. He's only a junior.
And I'm pretty sure they have some other recruits or either guys on the roster that we were not aware of just yet who are waiting in the wings to get their opportunity.
Darren Hiller, the co-offensive coordinator in his first season, getting his first taste of USF in that fast tempo and high-scoring offense. You know, Victor, the way this game is going right now, he's going to get so many carries. He may wind up with a 100-yard game after all.
Yeah, I think at this point, though, you want to get him out of the game and right on cue because you're going to need him for the long haul, not just for this game. And you got to admire his competitive toughness. I mean, I had no idea he had a cast on his hand in the pregame and still able to get some positive yards and score touchdowns in this game.
He's at 61 right now, so maybe I'm wrong, unless he breaks off a long one. Simpson, the intended receiver, and Mihalik just overshoots him in the flat.
I mean, they have Markel Dickerson they can probably give some carries to, along with Shane Simpson. But you're going to need Darius Victor for the long haul, that's for sure.
What really has impressed Ambrose about Mihalik, though, he said, he has a short memory.
Yeah.
He doesn't, you know, he has a bad play, a bad game. He's not going to dwell on it. He's going to move on.
He was on that, I think, that 2014 Oregon team that went to the national championship. So, get much playing time, but he was at least able to absorb things at a high level.
Dessenberg over the 30. Has to get to the 33 for the first down.
Dessenberg's made some big catches tonight.
Oh, wait a minute. They just moved the chains.
The first down.
He got it to about the 32. Oh, maybe after the catch they inadvertently moved the chains before the officials told them to. But now 3 of 15 on third down.
I mean, you look at Dessenberg, you look at Summers. I mean, those guys' size. I mean, they're standing at 6'3". Some big targets for Mahalik to connect with. You got Sam Gallahan. I mean, he's 6'1". These guys can move around pretty good. And one thing I like about Dessenberg, he was reading, coverages on the run, making some side adjustments. Just kind of sitting down and making himself available for Mahalik to deliver the ball to him.
Simpson gets the call out of the I formation, fighting for extra yardage. Mentioned he's also a redshirt freshman. Boy, he's a tough cookie.
Yeah, he is. I think you definitely found something. I mean, I would not be surprised at some point this season where he's going to take a kick return back or may even lead the league in kickoff returns. The way he's returned the ball tonight, he's done a good job.
5'9", 185, plays much bigger. Well, time has expired in quarter number 3. We head for the final 15 minutes of the 2016 opener for the Bulls. Averaged about 47 over the last 4 games last year. Head for the fourth quarter with 49 on the board. Victor with a couple of touchdowns, but his team trailing 49-17. Tigers have the ball to open up the fourth quarter, but they do so facing another third down situation. 3rd and 9 at the 35. Mahalik goes over the middle, and this one's almost picked off.
Yeah, again, miscommunication again. Gallahan broke his route off, and Mahalik expected him to keep running.
Nate Ferguson almost had the INT, a sophomore out of Tampa. Another young player, Rob Ambrose. Just wants to get out of here now and focus on St. Francis and hopefully even that record at 1-1 next week as Ryder comes on for another punt for the Tigers.
I still have yet to accept the shield punt. It's a fake.
And big fullback is going to pick up the first down over the 45-yard line. How about that, huh? You give it to a 266-pound back on a fake punt.
I'll tell you what, man, Holder is so light on his feet. You want to see him at the center of your screen, move over just a little bit to get the direct snap, but just breaking tackles and having a wherewithal to reach forward to get the first down. I mean, hey, looks good at what he does. He's only 5'11", but I'm pretty sure somebody's going to give him a look because he offers a lot of different things as a fullback, as a tight end, and even on special teams.
Ambrose saying that no, he doesn't carry. He just catches and blocks. Maybe he should carry it a few times this year.
He should. Definitely shows some soft hands coming out of the backfield receiving passes, that's for sure.
Hole on the right side and penalty flag. It might have been a face mask.
Face mask all the way. Still don't like the idea of Victor still being in the game.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense. 15 yards, he added to the end of the run, automatic, first down.
Sanat. The number 10 right in the center of your screen, just reaching out, trying to grab cloth and actually grab face mask and turned his head. It's almost one of those plays that kind of make you cringe because the player whose face mask is grabbed, in this case Victor, his body's still going, but then again his head turns away from your body.
So the Tigers with a first down thanks to the penalty. Swings us out in the flats to Victor, who had 7 catches last year. But again, he's got that cast on his hand, and we saw him In the first half, they tried to go to Victor, and Nigel Harris just basically picked his pocket.
Trying to set him up on, I guess it was a screen or a wheel route. Either way it go, that play was slow to develop, but you see that cast. I mean, he's only got 2 functionable fingers, which is his index and his thumb. And you got to wonder what he did to the last 3, which is the middle and the ring and the pinky. But needless to say, he's out here showing why he's one of the nation's best backs at the FCS level.
Wow.
Right there.
Sea of green. Set up nicely, though, and a nice open field tackle. Coming up again by Najee.
Again, you see Victor there. Just disappear out the left of your screen. Mahalik moves the pocket.
Well, Najee Fullwood came up fast, didn't he?
He did. He closed him down real quick.
You know, Mike, Towson's had the ball 13 more minutes than the Bulls, but USF, they've had 6 of their 7 scoring drives under 2 minutes tonight.
Credit the field position a lot on that one.
Mahalik slides at the 25, another first down for the Tigers, so they didn't come 961 miles just for the paycheck. They continue to fight.
They're going for it on 4th down, get the quarterback sneaks, and you know, just some mistakes being made because, I mean, this is Mahalik's first real chance getting some playing experience. So he's still trying to build the chemistry with the receivers on the outside. Still trying to figure out what Coach Ambrose likes and what he doesn't. But you can see the natural ability of him playing quarterback to where he can extend plays, and at times he can become accurate.
Darius Victor rumbles down to the 20. That was the 12th play of the drive, which started way back at the 23-yard line. And, you know, a win is a win, a loss is a loss. But for the fans that open up the morning paper or check their phones or whatever, how they get their scores, if they can punch in a couple more scores before the end of this ball game, it certainly looks a lot more respectable.
Yeah.
As they head for week 2 against St. Francis.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the people here, you know, maybe watching back out east, I mean, they know this game was relatively close at one point. It's just that, you know, South Florida have a lot more athletes, and I hope right now.
Alec is hurt.
Yeah.
He just got the ball away. Almost found Gallagher. But he had 3 Bulls all over him, and he is grimacing in pain.
Kind of coming, just rolling to the right. He gets hit right there on the side of the head. I believe by 3.
Daniel
leak.
Awalake.
He's grabbing that knee.
Uh-oh. I think he was... For a second there, I thought he was grabbing his right wrist, but hopefully that's not the case.
Yeah, he's not putting too much weight on that right knee.
Well, the Oregon transfer looks like that's going to do it for him tonight, so they'll bring in Alice Knudsen. According to Ambrose, they actually had a pretty good battle in camp.
Yeah, Knudsen played some games last year, 4 of them. Was able to get some passing attempts in, and it's not necessarily a good sign when you see Mahalik limping off the field, not putting any pressure on that right knee.
So Knudsen, a sophomore out of Alexandria, Virginia, 52% last year in those 4 games that Michael spoke of. No touchdowns, 1 pick. Boy, tough break, though, for Mahalik after sitting out, transferring from Oregon. So Knudsen out of the shotgun, quarterback draw, rumbles down inside the 15-yard line, and the drive still alive as they pick up another first down.
Nelson wasted no time. Quarterback design run, just being patient, follow behind his blockers, and just kind of getting what he can, converting that first down. Get a fresh set of downs, and we'll see if he can put one into the end zone.
Mahalik puts it up 36 times tonight, 16 of 36 for a $165 with an INT. Knudsen getting ready to throw his first pass. Could feel the pressure coming, and he throws it behind the intended receiver. Cecil Cherry in coverage.
At that particular time there, Knudsen couldn't set his feet. Couldn't come to balance in the pocket. Made that throw a little bit off target. Good defensive coverage, and that's a shot right there. Mahalik Just hopefully that the reports are good tomorrow or next week this time around, so that Mahala can get himself back at some point during the season.
And hopefully everything's okay with Marlon Mack, too, of the Bulls. Outstanding running back. Knudsen looking and had his man. And Summers can't quite hold on to a double coverage.
Tell you what, man, Dixon, Jalen Spencer, I mean, these guys read that post corner route that Christian Summer was just trying to run, and Knudsen had pretty good location on that, trying to hit that back corner of the end zone, but really good job by the cornerback, and also, too, the safety coming over, knocking that pass away, forcing the offense to take yet another snap.
So Knudsen faces his first third down from the 16. Fires over the middle and understandably a little bit nervous. Probably rushed the pass a little bit, threw it low. So now 5 for 19 on third down.
He's talking to Coach Ambrose right there. I think he thought that maybe Dessenberg was going to break maybe a little bit outer, breaking away from the middle of the field, and he actually saw a defender coming in. If he was able to put that ball a little bit higher, it might have been an interception.
So Aiden O'Neal, who wasn't even on the roster on Wednesday of this week, he's already kicked one field goal. And he's 2 for 2 as far as field goals.
Good things come to those who wait.
And the Tigers have 3 more on the board. They trail 49-20. Still 11 minutes and 24 seconds to go in this football game, which is going to be more than a 3.5-hour contest. A lot of excitement in the stands, a lot of smiles for good reason, as the Bulls are up 49-20 in the 2016 opener. And Willie Taggart was saying that these fans here in the stadium really have been getting energized here with this football team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you see the crowd swaying back and forth, side to side. I really like the music selection here at Raymond James Stadium. I mean, they've been all over the place playing a variety of different music, and it's all been pretty good, keeping the crowd entertained and energized.
D'Angelo Antoine back deep. It's a squib kick. It's going to be picked up by Johnson. Johnson at the 17-yard line. Or check it, that's not Johnson. And running out of bounds, I think that's Ty McCants. So McCants back to receive the kick. Penalty flag dropped on the play. Tyree McCants, another one of the young players for Taggart, still just a sophomore out of Niceville, Florida.
Personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 94, the kicking team. 15-yard penalty to be added at the end of the run, first down.
Well, we take a look at number 8 right there. That's Monty Fenner, the sophomore out of Chesapeake, Virginia. And very, very, very touching story for him.
You talk about the Wardell Turner Scholarship recipient. Sergeant Major Wardell was killed in action in Afghanistan, and we asked Coach Ambrose about that, and it's the first annual award that this has been given to a player. So he talks about, I believe he actually played with Coach Wardell.
And it's amazing, too. He was killed in Afghanistan. He didn't have to go back, but his son was going back.
Yeah.
And he said, I can't have my son go over there without going back myself. I mean, you talk about athletes, and you were one being heroes. I mean, that's courage.
That is.
When you go back into a war zone and you don't have to go back, and it's a very touching but sad story that he lost his life.
Yeah, Coach Ambrose was, letting us know that him and a couple of alumni and teammates and even some Towson members came up with that and thought it was a great idea. They just wanted to kind of figure out how to present it. So I thought that was a great job. Great gesture.
Well, Brett Keene, the freshman out of Lakewood, Ohio, having a good time out there now, backing up Flowers, getting the entire fourth quarter to play some football. He's flinging it around already with a touchdown pass. That one went to Darius Tice. Tice already with a touchdown reception. So spreading the wealth. A lot of players staying happy on the Bull sidelines.
It's time for the young guys to get evaluated. I'll tell you one thing, King's not afraid to throw that ball over the middle. I mean, just put it in the air, taking chances, trying to connect with this wide receiver on that post route. Good job by Antoine Carter, picking that pass up. Still out there competing. So the game may be a little bit out of hand.
Well, Flowers, of course, is a junior. He's coming back, and this is his team, of course. But Keene, only a freshman. What have we seen so far tonight? He looks like he's definitely poised enough to step in after Flowers leaves.
Yeah, clearly not shy. Normally when you see a quarterback come in, you know, they want to make the safe throw. Like, nah, he's greedy. He's going right over the middle, trying to really test the defense and let them know, like, hey, listen, I have an arm too.
Nice punt by Hernandez, fair caught by Simpson. 10:04 to go before they wrap this one up, 49-20. Tigers with the football when we come back. Back inside Raymond James Stadium, 49-20. The Bulls in the opener all over the Towson Tigers. Check out the first part of our hashtag Field the Question campaign on Twitter at Live on ESPN. ASN.
I wonder what kind of questions can they field? You know, what do they want, I guess, in that aspect? You want a t-shirt with that too? Is that the one? The field the question? Get some free swag?
And it's ASN.
ASN swag.
Floridian slip.
Happens. Marky Sanchez still in the game. I'm surprised. Team leading tackler, Buckets Award candidate.
6 double-figure tackle games last year in 2015 for Sanchez.
Grayson Bryce on that carry. Big, thicker running back. They're sure sophomore. And nothing fancy here. That's just basically an old school lead play. The fullback isolated on the linebacker until racing the pick. I mean, you just imagine if he gets some carries in the CAA. Good goodness.
6'2", 255. The right, Grayson Boyce. Redshirt sophomore. Coach said he's going to get some playing time, but going to run out the clock here and head back to Towson and get ready for St. Francis. Coming up next, Northern Illinois, right here in the stadium for the Bulls. Boyce swarmed under at the 17-yard line.
It doesn't help him there. Kind of going laterally. He's a bigger man. Want to keep those shoulders square to the sideline and just wants to run downhill. But I mean, even though the offensive line, they did convert that one on Towson's offense, I wanted to mention it's the sexy 6. I mean, that came up by, Coach Donatelli, the offensive line coach, and saying that, you know what, a lot of other positions are interchangeable where you can rotate guys in and out, but the 5 offensive linemen, they stay the same along with the quarterback. So the sexy 6.
Tajay Fullwood backpedals, kicks it in the 5th gear over the 30, stopped at about the 34-yard line. Shoestring tackle by Towson. We'll take another timeout here with 8 minutes and 4 seconds to go. The Bulls will have the football when we return to Tampa, Florida. Eight minutes and some change remaining in the ball game, 49-20. Let's check see what's transpired in the American Conference. Games, of course, starting on Thursday. Tulane losing a tough one at Wake Forest. Maine almost knocks off UConn. The Huskies survive. Houston with that big victory over Oklahoma today. Cincinnati wins. Temple losing to Army as the Temple quarterback Philip Walker was picked 3 times. Jahad Thomas didn't play because of a hand injury. East Carolina all over Western Carolina. You see North Texas in the 4th trailing SMU. Tulsa 45-10 over San Jose State. Back to live action here. The Bulls out in the flat. And the ball is complete. Penalty flags all over the place.
Speaking of Monty, I'm sorry. Yeah, Monty Fenner lost his helmet there for a second.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 8, participating without a helmet. 15-yard penalty to be added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
I don't know you get a penalty for your helmet coming off during the field of play. And some of those scores in the American. The new rule, I guess, if you continue to play without your helmet, trying to go in and field to play, you just need it doing it for safety reasons.
Well, safety first and foremost, of course, but at the place, if you're a defensive player and you're trying to tackle somebody,
you need your head.
Not too many guys are going to back off.
Yeah, you need your headgear. So everything now with concussions and whatnot, definitely need your headgear.
We saw a play the other night where Brian Sheriffs, the quarterback for UConn, was racing for the pylon, and he dove, he got hit, and he got in for the touchdown. Everybody thought it was a score, but his helmet had came off before he crossed the goal line.
Okay.
So he had to leave the game, and they put the ball on the 1 yard line.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought. I mean, for a second that you know, if your helmet comes off, then you leave the game. But I guess if you're still competing, I guess, in that aspect with Finner, then it's unsportsmanlike conduct.
And again, I don't want to be the unpopular guy to say that I don't understand. I understand the safety issue, sure. But if I'm playing defense,
your instincts are to tackle.
Your instincts are to make the tackle and finish the play to the whistle.
Yeah, he didn't break stride. He definitely got in there. Yeah, man, you got to be impressed with Brett King.
Yeah, he's moving the chains. There's no doubt about that with 6:54 to go. He wants to score another touchdown here for the Bulls.
He's showing some pretty good command of the offense, too.
This one just over the outstretched hands of Chris Barr. King is 3 for 5 with 33 and a touchdown. It's his first pass.
Play action fake for a touchdown.
First pass as a college football player went for a touchdown. Just like Marlon Mack, we go back to his first game as a collegiate football player, rushed for 275 yards and 4 touchdowns that night.
Who was that against? Who was the team?
I think it was, was it SMU? Or Western Carolina, I think.
Man, lit him up. 273. Talk about a debut, then you come back and you get another, 150 yards? And, like, yeah, but your first year you ran for 273, so I guess it really doesn't live up to it.
275.
275. Really
Let's not be taking 2 yards away from him.
Yeah. And speaking of which, you know, I want to see more of the Mac attack, and I'm pretty sure we will. Hopefully bounces back, comes back healthy and ready to go to get back to being a part of this Gulf Coast offense against Northern Illinois. But you definitely have to like where this program is headed.
Oh, no doubt.
Offensively, defensively, and special teams.
You know, it's amazing, too. Willie Taggart telling us last night, you know, how coaches talk about balance. We want to run it so many times and pass it so many times. Now, it's amazing that last year, you look at their balance, they had 54 offensive touchdowns, Mike, 28 on the ground, 26 on the air. And he's just kind of, Willie's like, well, you know, it's not by design. I'm not thinking, I just said, let's go play. Let's go play football, run the offense. And most coaches will say, yeah, we want to be balanced. You've got to run it so many times. And
so sometimes it just happens to work out that way when the year is going good for you. And you know what, again, he cut his teeth in this business, you know, under Jack Harbaugh being coached by him and then being a graduate assistant. And you know, Jim Harbaugh out of Stanford, I mean, they believe in running the ball first. They're just doing it in a lot of different ways now, especially when you have dual threat quarterbacks.
And speaking of running the football, Brett Keane carries for the first time tonight. It stopped at the just shy of the 20-yard line. You know, it's funny, Jim Harbaugh recruits Taggart to Western Kentucky to play for Jack Harbaugh.
Yep.
And then Jim Harbaugh winds up being the best man in Willie Taggart's wedding. I mean, how about that, huh?
Nice.
Keane, plenty of time, steps up, fires, got the tight end, another touchdown. This one goes to Mitchell Wilcox, the big freshman out of Tarpon Springs, Florida, 21 yards.
It came out on the wheel route. Nobody covered Wilcox coming out. I mean, basically you see him to the left of your screen, just running wide open down the sideline, and just forgot a couple of Towson members in the secondary. Just forgot about Big 89 on his way to the end zone. But again, another touchdown pass for Brett King. 2 in his opening debut.
Just as many as Flowers, right? They both have 2 touchdowns.
The Flowers rushed for 2 too as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nadelman on for the extra points. Boy, he's going to wind up being the leading scorer, just extra points.
Yeah.
All right, Big Mike, let's take another look at this one.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Mitchell Wilcox, and he's just lined up from the wing position. Just go right to the left of your screen. He goes to the end zone, a coverage bust on the back end by Towson, but the big man walks in for his first touchdown of the season.
Mitchell Wilcox gets his first scoring strike, touchdown reception as a collegiate football player. Elkanah Dillon, last year as a freshman, pulled in 126 yards in the opener last season. And you mentioned Keene doing a pretty good job. How about 66 yards, 8 plays, and 236? Capped off with a 21-yard scoring strike.
Yeah, mixed in some easy throws, high percentage passes, and working the first, second, and third level. And he got his chance to throw a touchdown. He does not hesitate. He pushed the ball right where the receivers need to catch it.
Well, last year you talked about the points they were putting on the board. The last 3 games of the regular season, these Bulls scored 44, 65, and 44. And I was just told the 56 points equals the program's most in an FBS season opener now. USF beats Tennessee Martin 56-7 in the opener back in 2008, but there's still 5 minutes and 28 seconds to go. And I've got a funny feeling if Keene gets back on the field, he's going to want to score again.
Yeah. He even showed some of the ability, I mean, just to run the ball, too. It was his own read, but yeah, I'm pretty sure if Keene gets back in the game, he's going to want to push the ball down the field.
Simpson again at the goal line. Simpson again with a nice return up close to the 30-yard line. So Simpson averaging probably closer to 30, maybe more after that 61-yard return earlier in the second half.
You're really impressed with this skill set, man, and just setting his team up with really good field position, and with him just being a freshman, a redshirt freshman, definitely found something with him, at least special teams wise, being able to be a reliable kick returner for Towson.
Now you talk about the American Conference too. I mean, we talked about the 5,700 yards of offense that the Bulls had. That was only second to Tulsa. And so Tom Herman was saying when he was at Ohio State as the offensive coordinator, he said, when you played in the Big Ten, you might be able to attest to this.
Yeah.
He said there's probably 2 or 3 games where you really got to strap it up and bring your A game. And then there's probably 5 where you don't want to mess up. He said, but here in the American Conference, because of the lack of depth and the talent's pretty balanced, he said, if you don't bring your A game every night,
yeah,
you're going to be in trouble.
I mean, you just look at the offenses and how they're able to score in bunches. I mean, you're right. You have to be at your A game, and you have to have a defense that can at least get you maybe 1 or 2 stops extra throughout the course of the game. So by that way, if your offense has the ability to keep scoring and you get that 1 stop, that can be the difference in the game.
7 of the top 10 passers back this year in the American Conference. Dane Evans of Tulsa averaging 333 passing yards a game. Tulsa over 6,300 yards. How good was Clemson? 7,800 yards last year of total offense.
Deshaun Watson, he is something special.
This one's batted down at the line of scrimmage again. Well, that's the 3rd or 4th time that they've pulled that one off as number 56 this time.
Juwan Brown.
Juwan Brown gets his hands on the football.
Again, another one of those guys is in that defensive line rotation. Just a junior. But that's what I thought I would see a little bit more of. And they did it at times tonight from defensive coordinator Raymond Woody, just to rotate these defensive linemen in and out, keeping these guys fresh, because they are going to need them, especially when you're reading off numbers just like that from the American Conference, with Tulsa's averaging 333 yards a game, passing-wise.
Just passing, yeah, I was going to say. Temple picked 2nd in the East behind USF. Now the Bulls have to go to Philadelphia this year.
And go to Memphis, too.
Yeah, Memphis beat these guys last year.
But I wonder how Memphis would be without, the head coach Fuente going over to Virginia Tech. I mean, that's another school with a lot of speed and athleticism as well.
You know what's neat about that, though, is for years Memphis tried to get into the Big East, couldn't get there. Now they're a good football program.
Right.
Temple was basically kicked out of the Big East, and Temple played in the championship game last year.
You're right.
Speaks volumes for both those programs.
Speaking of which, too, the Big 12 is looking to expand, and I think Memphis' name was brought up in the conversation as well as Houston's. You know, now I guess it's a matter of how do you want to expand? Do you want to expand by, 2 teams in the Big 12 since they only have 10 that give you 12, or if you want to expand by 4, maybe even reach down into South Florida because of how well the program is doing and the heights that they can reach, because every conference wants to find a way to have games down in Florida. This is the 11th largest TV market in the United States, so that could be a possibility too in the near future.
Well, the Texas schools probably don't want Houston, and after today, probably more than just the Texas schools don't want Houston in the Big 12.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, it'd be, I guess, almost an easier route for Houston, especially if they keep that momentum up, but I'm pretty sure the alumni are scrambling. They're trying to keep Tom Herman in place as the head coach down there because he has done a tremendous job.
It's really too bad when you think about it. This American Conference is a nice conference. I mean, you go back to the Big East. It was once Virginia Tech, Miami, Pittsburgh, Syracuse, Boston College. Now the American, if they should lose, and to Mike Oresco, the commissioner, to his credit, he said, hey, he understands the pressures. He understands the money that these schools want. Yeah. But deep down, he's got to be thinking, doggone it, then he's got to go find somebody to replace the team that might go to the Big 12. And,
sure.
And
I mean, eventually, when you talk about the Power 5 conference, I mean, there's going to come a time to where they're going to break away from the rest of the NCAA, in my opinion. It's trending towards that direction. And if you have the Big 12, for example, if they do continue to expand, then I think that just might do it. You have the Pac-12, the Big 12, the Big 10, the SEC, the ACC, and then you'll just have those 5 conferences compete for a championship.
Big 12 with 10, Big 10 with 14.
14 teams, yeah. ACC 14, SEC 14. So it's trending.
I was going to say, when people were complaining in the Big East, when they thought they had San Diego State and Boise State, and they said, what do you mean San Diego State in the Big East? I said, well, you got the Big 12 with 10 teams. You got, at the time, the Big 10 had 12 teams.
Yeah.
I said they should flip-flop their conference names, and boy, that would be sacrilegious.
Yeah, it would be. But they're just trying to make, the college game more powerful in a sense, and it's trending that direction. Shane Simpson back. Let's get some punt return work now.
Hernandez, the Florida State transfer, on the punt from his end zone. Whistle blows this dead before the kick.
Before the snap, USF takes its first time out of the half. It's a 30-second timeout.
And with 2:18 to go in a 56-20 game, timeout is called on the field. The play clock was almost out. Almost the operative word. I think he got the kick off, but
yeah, still practice situations. But I mean, at this point, as we mentioned before, if USF keeps this up, continuing, a winning tradition, and when the Big 12 does interview more teams, I mean, if they get to the state of Florida, they will. I know Cincinnati was mentioned too as well. Memphis, FedEx backing. Houston, I think, is a shoe-in. Also, BYU. I thought they might want to stay independent, but they're looking to get into a football conference to where they can at least compete and get to the college football playoffs.
Well, I think a lot of recruits, young kids, they'd probably rather play in a conference,
Yeah. I think Notre Dame, I mean, they say they're independent with air quotes, but they have, 4 or 5 games in ACC every year, so that's technically you're not.
And, of course, their basketball team is part of the ACC now.
Yeah.
And so Hernandez back to punt again with 2 minutes and 18 seconds to go. Simpson's had a good day returning kicks for Towson. He's standing at the 45-yard line, and he calls for the fair catch. He takes it at the midfield stripe. So the Tigers with another chance to put some points on the board with 2 minutes and 11 seconds for Ellis Knudsen, who replaced Morgan Mahalik, who went out with that injury.
Shout out Coach Ambrose there. I believe his 8th season with the program. He played there, started out as a quarterback, moved to wide receiver, and he's cut his teeth in coaching and has done a really good job with the Towson program and giving out and taking this game and getting this team ready to go for the season to come. Hopefully they can get themselves back into the playoffs. See what they can do. See how bad that Morgan Mahalik is injured, and they're going to rely heavily on the legs of Darius Victor.
And if you joined us late, Houston expected to win the West. They knocked off Oklahoma today. Richmond expected to finish on top of the CAA. They knocked off Virginia today. So it's been a good day for the American and the CAA in that regard.
Are you surprised that Houston beat Oklahoma in Houston?
Not really.
Not really? Yeah.
I mean, it's easy for me to sit here and say that now, but the way they finished last year, I mean, they handled Florida State pretty.
Beat them down, man.
They beat them down, yeah, and they've got some talent there. And of course, Ward, I don't think he'll be in the running at the end of the season for the Heisman, but he was a candidate, a preseason candidate.
Yeah.
And he's great. Don't get me wrong, Houston fans. He's a great player, but he's just. You talked about the touch for Flowers. I think Ward has improved his passing.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's a prolific passer out there.
Right. He's not David Klingler, back in those days.
But that being said, if they run the table, the people are going to be talking about Greg Ward. I mean, they're undefeated.
Yeah.
Inside a minute now, 58 seconds to go. Towson still putting up a fight, moving the pile all the way down inside the 35-yard line. And well, I tell you, there was no bringing him down.
Oh.
That's Deshaun Wethington, a freshman out of Suffolk, Virginia.
Just finding different ways to run the ball. Powers encounters, an angle blocking team with a little bit of zone mix up. But I mean, that is their MO. Just running downhill, attacking the line of scrimmage, trying to recreate it every chance they get. Do it several different ways, and they're a run-first team, which is something you don't really see nowadays, especially with two running backs in the backfield.
Knudsen blindsided, fumble. Bulls come up with the football. Knudsen was 0 for 5, and then he got hit on the blind side. That's 4 turnovers now. 4 takeaways by the Bulls here. They had 25 last year.
25 turnovers, 17 interceptions. Some tackles for loss. I think they had 98 tackles for loss last year to go along with their 34 sacks. They just want to swarm and punish, get 11 hands to the ball at all times, and good job of doing that tonight.
Victory formation coming up now with the Bulls. They'll run out the final 23 seconds, and they're going to go to 1-0 with Northern Illinois sitting on the horizon. Players will start trickling out on the field, and that's going to do it.
Yeah. 19-1 in home openers for the South Florida program.
So Willie Taggart finishes last year winning 7 of the final 8 regular season games, 7 of 9 overall. Opens up 2016 with a victory. And Michael Young, your final thoughts on the game?
Yeah, my final thoughts, I mean, it's everything that I thought it would be as far as offensively goes for South Florida. Still a lot of things to improve on. You just hope that Marlon Mack's okay. He can come back and really add some more pop to that running game. And, Towson, you got to take your hats off to them. They came out, they competed, just made one mistake too many. 2 turnovers that led to 14 points. But other than that, I mean, I look for this team to make a lot of noise in the FCS.
So Quentin Flowers with 273 passing yards in the bowl game while rushing for 108. He opens up with 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns, and they go on to win it big time for Towson. For Mike Young and Mike Lefko and our entire ASN crew, Mike Gleason saying so long from Tampa, Florida. Once again, the final score, 56-20 Bulls. For the latest news and special features on your teams, go to AmericanSportsNet.com. This has been a presentation of ASN, the American Sports Network, your teams, your passion, your network. So long, everybody, from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.